Okay, so you're saying that when you pour,
When you pour it,
you leave.
this is
Yeah.
the proper way. You should have like that much head in your glass.
Okay.
Because apparently, this is all chemical reactions that are going to happen in the glass versus happening in your stomach. So you don't have this big old bloated beer gut feeling
Uh,
that you have. So you're supposed to pour it like that, not pour it like shake it up in a paint mixer and then pour it like that. But and
yeah.
then don't like, some people will do it like that and it's slow. That's it. And that was from like a brewmaster. And he said, unless you want these gases in your stomach, which is fine, it'll process. You're just gonna be burp, burp, burp. But if you
Burp and
don't want to
all. That's
be,
what I was thinking. Yeah.
but if you don't want to burp so much, burp, 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 then you do it like that. Now, for the White Claw boys out there, I don't know. I'm pretty sure gases are gases. White Claw gases are a little crazier.
I, I would
Maybe they're named
do
Kyle. I don't know what's going on in there,
do
but
do do hard water seltzers even have a head? I don't even know. I haven't ever had one, so I don't even know. Like, do they even have? Do they leave? I know sometimes it's carbonate.
I
That's how
feel I
out of
feel
touch I
like
am.
we should have a second podcast just for White Claw.
The
White
White Claw
Claw,
hour.
the White Claw.
That would be funny.
Oh,
That would be good.
perfect fitting. Somebody's gonna be drinking a White Claw on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And that's
it's
it.
gonna
It's weird now. It's like, well, there's always there at some point there had to be somebody drinking a Zima at Thanksgiving. So the
Zima.
evolution
Yeah.
of the Zima is now White Claw. I mean, that was
Wow.
prehistoric White Claw back in the day was Zimas, right?
That's
Am I right?
that's z- White Claws are alcoholic, but it has the same effect as a Zima when you see one. It's more of a
Oh, I see the
mental
same
thing.
effect. When I see somebody drinking a White Claw versus a
Yeah.
Zima, it has the same effect.
The same effect. Yeah, I think the same thing.
The same visual
Alcoholic or not,
aspect.
it's this. Oh, you're one of those. Okay,
Oh, you're
cool.
one of those. Oh, okay.
It's right next
Just
to your stuffing and potatoes in a
just
White
get on.
Claw.
Yeah, just get on your. What is it? What's the Bud Light? That's not really Bud Light. It's like I don't know. It's like
Michelob.
point fifth of a calorie.
It's like
Uh,
Michelob. Michelob is always for like fit beer drinkers.
yeah.
From what?
Remember ice? Remember when that was a thing? Like everybody had
Bud
an ice beer, and
Ice.
it was just malt liquor.
Yeah.
Like, oof,
Ugh.
it would throw. Oh, anyway,
This
moving
coming
on
in.
with our lives.
I'm just getting something. We are now sponsored by Budweiser. So we want to say thanks
All
to everybody
right,
at Budweiser. We've
great.
always
Oh, loving the Bud Ice. Label out.
Label
Laces
out.
out, Marino.
We're going label out this time. We have to. It's a contractual obligation.
Label out. Let me switch the hats out. All right.
We got the Earnhardt Jr. hats and
The
everything
dog.
else.
The Mackenzie or whatever
Spuds
it is.
McKenzie. Oh my God.
Oh my God! And then we didn't sell out. We bought in. All right.
Yes,
So
that's
what
the way you got to think about it. That's how we.
Well, welcome everybody to another episode of the Nissan Nerd Podcast. This is our attempt at doing a Thanksgiving special. While you are driving home, while you are about to endure the horrible. And I'm going to go ahead and just leave the words out from that point. You're
Okay.
just about to step into the family fun, if you will.
Yeah.
That
The nest.
is the Thanksgiving experience. And we'll just leave it at that. But we are here to try to brighten up your Thanksgiving experience. Or if
Yeah.
you're one of the thankful ones that is able to get away in your garage and put this on while you get to tune
There
and
you
tinker.
go.
That's what we're here for. But again, thank you for tuning in with us. This is another episode of the Nissan Nerd Podcast, Thanksgiving Turkey Day Especial.
Go for it.
So, Mike,
All
what are
right.
we doing on this episode?
All right, then. I'm glad you asked, Miles. So, on this episode, a Nissan wins the Optima Battery Street Challenge for the first time in its history. Also, we're going to share garage horror stories and lessons that we've learned along the way. And then finally, as we enter this holiday season, we're going to share a few online specials that have been popping up and continue to be promoted around this time, which you may want to take advantage of. So again, stick with us, guys. This is the Nissan Nerd Podcast.
I swear that song's getting shorter and shorter, or we're buffering out like who knows what. But yeah, I mean, the internet right now is just kind of slow for, and if we kind of cut in and out tonight, be try to be patient with us, y'all. I'm assuming the pornography download across our peninsula is through the roof right now, or
Coast
everybody's
to
Black
coast
Friday it.
downloads. It's
Coast
either
to
that
coast
or like
porn downloads or Black
it's
Friday deal shopping.
it's like 5 YouTube videos on how to make a turkey right
Oh
now.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
they're
It's like
doing.
nobody know.
It's
Everybody forgot how to cook, and they're just like, "Oh crap, we need
yeah,
a
yeah. Oh
YouTube
crap.
video."
Oh, this can't be DoorDash. This is not curbside. Oh man, how many people?
All the,
You know.
the poor DoorDash guys that are just eating up bandwidth all out the place just to get. Oh, I need that. They forgot that one gluten-free pie, and they're just like, "Son of a." I need it. I need it
I
from
said
7 counties
non-dairy.
over. It happens, dude. It's crazy. It's like I don't know. But
That's a hard.
again, it's Thanksgiving. Be thankful that you got a roof over your head, that you got us. I mean, that's really what you should be thankful for. Is
Yeah.
that we're here talking about dorky, nerdy car and Nissan and Datsun Infinity stuff because that's how we roll, right? So,
Hmm.
needless
Yeah.
to say, be thankful for everything you have in your world because it may not be there tomorrow.
That's true.
With
Yeah, we make fun, but hey, this is a really good time. This
This is
is
a
the
really
time.
good
This is
time
the
to
time to be thankful and count your
because
blessings
we
for sure.
don't practice this probably as a society every day like other countries do. So we have to create a day to remember to do it.
Right?
Just throwing it out
Well,
there.
it's been what's I. It's not like
That's really
Thanksgiving's
a
new.
holiday that's dedicated to slavery and death.
Oh, come on. Hey, let's not be a downer. We gotta think positive.
Okay.
Today, let's do that. Oh, but
Yeah, let's
hey,
keep it
by the
positive. Just stop
speaking
trying
of
to drag me down. Ooh, go ahead.
speaking of positive though, that's a nice hat. Is that? Is that your
This
special
old
edition?
thing.
This old thing? You got the Calsonic. I'm assuming it's based off of their most recent win or podium
It's
finish of the
actually
season.
from last year's season.
Ah,
But is when they had the GT or so yeah. Oh, and yeah, I also got the wig split. Oh,
uh,
no more ponytail.
oh,
Yeah,
no more ponytail.
no more
Oh, oh, it's
ponytails.
GTR. Oh, it's badass.
So
I
it
know.
was from the GTR, not with the new Z. I'll get one of the new Z hats when I can figure out how to source one from Japan and figure out how many billion yen it's going to be to get it in equivalent dollars. That's going to be for me
I
to
think the
wrap.
reason why you bought that hat is so that you can take it to the local paint shop and say, "I need this shade of
I
blue."
need I need this for the project car that I'm painting. Yeah, because this is
Yeah.
actually the color that I'm painting
To the licensed product, I'm sure
the
it is. So it's
licensed
got to be
product.
the
It's
official
got to
shade of
be
blue.
this one right there. So
Yeah.
yeah, moving right along. So we got a lot to kind of go over today. But before that, we usually kind of do a little challenge. Now, for those that haven't noticed,
Yeah.
obviously we are rocking some new some
Yeah.
new threads. What are
We
these
had
from?
we had a nice conversation. So in the last couple episodes, we were talking about Nissan Challenge, which is a series out of California,
Look at the
and
back. Look at the back.
grassroots. Oh man, go a little higher. Go a little higher, and
Ah,
you're there. There
ah,
you go. You gotta pull out your back. Yeah.
ah.
Well, we had spoken with. Well, first of all, we had spoken about a grassroots league Nissan Challenge racing series, and one of their organizers or promoters had given us a shout and said, "Hey, what size of shirt do you want?" And we're like, "Hey, of course, thank you so much." So here we are, man. We're part of the team now, man. We get to promote, and maybe we'll get a nice conversation with them
Yeah,
pretty soon.
and the nice thing about the Nissan Challenge, we're actually going to be adding them into our lineup as we continue on. They'll be added as part of our motorsports portion of the show,
Mhm.
like we've done for a few other events, which I love because that's we sometimes will comment on races that are happening other parts of the country, out of Europe, happening solely in Japan, but I think that's a beautiful thing is if we can get localized Nissan events like this.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no reason we wouldn't promote that, and
yeah,
we're happy to do that. And but yeah,
yeah.
thank you to those guys for the
Ha-
shirts. We really appreciate the assistance, and we can't wait to keep reporting on what the
Yeah.
upcoming season is and the
How,
finalization this season, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the show.
yes. Actually, I was going to ask you, how does your shirt fit?
Perfect. It is.
Does
It's
it
like it was tailor fit for me, which is
really?
weird because I have a weird like body dimension. Like
Uh,
I have really long arms for fighting, but then I have a body of like grimace, which is weird. It's like it's more of like a teardrop
yeah.
shape.
I
Like I'm what you call a muffin top. Does
A
that make
muffin
sense?
top?
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
When I was asked what size shirt, I had a little bit of hubris in me when I said, "Oh, yeah, extra large should be fine." And it's true, it fits well though. But
Yeah.
you know what? It does leave me with a goal to continue losing weight. I'm right at that point in my life with my weight loss where they ask themselves, "Is he gaining weight or is he losing weight?" I'm right in the middle. I'm like, nah,
I'm in between suffering from whatever stomach flu keeps coming around.
you
So
get those. Yeah,
I've been gaining and losing according to my disease rating at the time. So whatever stomach flu is, I come in, I drop like 15, and then that's it. And then I hit it hard at night with like like some shakes, some blueberry pies. It's hard to get back out to my old fighting fat
you're
weight. So
it's
yeah.
you're not gaining weight, you're cultivating mass. That's what you're
That's
doing.
it. That's it.
Yes,
I'm
that's
just
what it
trying to
is.
for
Yeah.
the warmth. So
For the
to
warmth. Hey,
survive the winter.
winter
Yeah,
is
because you
here.
never
Yeah.
know. It could be the end. Um, I keep thinking it's like you see that right there. It's like, yeah, I shave my armpits. It makes me aerodynamic when I fight. 'Cause that's from oh my god, that's from Pineapple Express. What a great line. Moving
Oh,
on
definitely.
with our
Yes, yes.
lives. All right, we got a lot to cover in this episode.
We got
We
some
got some
crowd work to
news that
do.
we're going to be hitting
Yeah.
you now. That was the T-shirt challenge that I wanted to kind of give a shout out to. As far as a catch up, me myself, I'm in the garage, believe it or not, right now. I've been helping a few local folks out, like I like to do, paying it back by helping some folks out with their projects when I can. But I'm trying to dedicate time to solely do my own projects. And one is this Datsun 620 project that I've been putting off for 6 months, probably 8 months. And we were stuffing a VG30DE into it. The frame, all the welding is completely done.
Yeah.
But I had a plan to do POR 15 on the frame, which is
Okay.
basically you paint over rust, but
Oh,
you
paint
basically
over
paint over
rust.
bare metal. But I,
Mm-hmm.
in my great wisdom, decided to put self-etching primer all over the frame to keep down the rust, right?
Okay.
But the reality is the POR 15 and the etching primer are like street gangs. They hate each other. So
Oh.
they now I have to go through and take off every inch of
Oh.
self-etching primer, and it's hardcore stuff. Once it bites pretty good. So now I'm like in the middle of taking stuff off, blasting. So I have to where I was done. Now I have to go back through and put another like 40 hours of grinding and
I
yeah,
didn't
it
know that.
sucks. Yeah,
Uh,
well, just a little factual note. If you're going to do POR 15, don't put self etching primer because it's all going to flake off. Let it rust. I know it sounds weird, but apparently you have to let it rust. And so I'm doing all my suspension pieces, everything that's raw metal. And the product's amazing. It's all about the prep. If you don't prep it right, you're going to screw yourself over.
as
Anyway,
with most
that's what
things, for
I'm doing
sure.
is I'm fixing um, my own mistakes that my smarter self made.
Great.
So
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I played myself, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I know you got a project that you're going on. You still got that right-hand drive 300ZX that's down because you and I have been trying to tear these engines down, so we can
Yes.
build you a solid one, right?
Yes, so I am planning for a really big road trip in the summer. I'm still months and months away, but this is all in the prep. Like you said, everything is all in the prep. And one thing is to get this engine swapped out with one that's doesn't have a rod knock in it. So amongst other things, you want this thing
Doesn't have
properly
a can of
sealed
bees
and
in it. All
tested,
right.
and yeah. So part of me thinking is if I'm taking this road trip, I kind of feel and I kind of feel that the engine that spun a rod was partially due to lack of engine cooling. So I want to add an engine oil cooler. And I would think it's very, very easy. However, with it
It
being right
is.
hand drive, the oil filter is right next to the steering column for a right hand drive vehicle. So now
Yeah, you
I'm
got a
having
lot
this
of. There's a
challenge
lot of things competing for space in that area. Yeah,
in
because
that
the
area.
VG30 only gives you that much space. Then you got a header. Then you got a steering rack that's kind of coming in
Yeah.
there, or
Yeah.
steering arm. Yeah, so great.
And
Yeah,
with all these Black Friday specials, I'm trying to take advantage of them. However, I've just learned about this whole fitment issue or clearance issue. And so what I thought was being clever, and I did this today, I actually went
angled
to one of
sandwich plate.
the
Angled sandwich plate. That might be your fix. So
I'm going to look into it. I actually think also if I use a different angle of AN fitting going to the line instead of 90 degrees, go with 45s or something
45.
like that.
Yeah,
Similar, a combination of what you
do it
said and also
360.
these fittings.
They make one. Kidding.
Crazy oil lines, yeah, like
Yeah, just do
remember the
two
crazy
45s
straws?
equals a
Yeah.
90, and then you add another one on top of that. I'm just joking. So,
I know it can be done though, but what I did do is that I went to one of the Australia 300ZX forums,
yeah, those
and
guys
I
are
just
rocking the
asked them.
right hand
They're all
drives.
right-hand drive,
Yeah,
right?
they're
And
all
I'm
right hand
sure
drive.
they've,
How do you institute? Yeah, that's probably the smart way
yeah.
to go. So
So
ask
that's
those
part of my
boys.
research right now. So that's
Right.
my fun for this week anyway. I'm
You could also reach out to some of the UK boys that stop in from time to time.
yes.
Yeah, they might be able to give you some insight on that. So yeah, kudos.
Hmm.
Well, I hope it works out. Either
Thank you.
way, let me know and I'll fix the problem when you break it. So let's. But yeah, we'll get to it. Since you're not too far from me, one of these days I'll come over and we'll do like a roadkill garage type of thing, and we'll just tear into your engine. So we'll
Cool.
go from
I'll
there.
make
But
lemonade and sugar cookies for you. Yeah, no, I'm just it's all like bland.
I was like, just so cucumber sandwiches, like
Yeah, man.
avocado toast, like just like stuff that like I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that
He's all
because
like,
there's
"You
probably
come."
a lot of avocado toast podcasts out there, and I don't want to get into a
That's
competition
true, man.
with them. So
That's yeah.
yeah, let's not make
Uh,
it weird. So. But yeah, let's do some crowd work, if you will. We got a lot of people kind of
yes.
chiming in. Diego Petty, he said, "I'm too tired to go to the garage. That is not an excuse, Diego. Go out there and just look at stuff, and just be surely disappointed with the fact you're not going to do anything at that time, but you did something. You made a plan. Planning
They,
is work, just
um,
like doing nothing.
the thing I've heard a lot, and I kind of carry it with me, which it says an hour a day goes a long way, no matter what it is. So if you can do 1 hour of garage work
Yeah,
before you
there's
know
a
it,
good buddy of mine that drops in on the show from time to time, named Arif. Arif
yeah.
lives here locally in San Antonio, and he always says, it goes, it's only going to get there if you put the time in. So he goes, it doesn't matter if you get out there an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you did something to move the ball. And he goes, and I always hear him screaming in my ear to get my ace out of bed and get there and go and do something to move the project along, even if you move forward 4 hours and
Hmm.
you screwed up your frame like me, and you got to dedicate 16, but you learned from it, you shared the information,
Yep.
and do it all over again and do it the right way. So
Do it.
that's the way it kind of goes.
Good point.
Randall jumped in. Thanksgiving with your stepsister. All
I
right,
think
all right.
he was talking about that in the beginning when we were talking about how Thanksgiving dinners can be, you know, for lack of a better word, interesting. And so I would think
Yeah,
that was one of the
yeah.
situations. Yeah,
It's always like
I think he's venting just a little bit.
like when warring tribes meet on neutral ground, like holy ground, and they
Hmm.
just have a
Yeah.
conversation. You're sharing a meal, and that's it. And then you just partake, and hopefully no battles. It's kind of like Highlander.
It
That's
reminds
how.
me of
Yeah,
Step Brothers when they finally hug at the end, but they don't know how to hug. You know, where they're like
yeah, and
in the
awkward.
matter of like punching each other, but trying not
They're
to. You
just
know.
they're gonna punch
Yeah.
each other. I remember that. It's fine. Miss Myers jumping in. Happy Thanksgiving, of course. Thank you as
Happy
always,
Thanksgiving,
Miss Myers. We got to get her on the show one of these days. Badu, what's up? As always,
my
thank
boy,
you
my
for
boy.
dropping
Yeah.
in. Let's see here. Diego, he commented on POR 15. He goes, I did my S30 gas tank with POR 15 18 years ago. Great stuff. That's where I got it from. I did a tank for a friend of mine years ago, and that tank is still rocking. No issues, no internal rust, especially with the garbage gas that we have here in the United States now, with all the new additives that are now causing all
Additives.
the problems with all these older Nissans and Datsuns. You really kind of have to. I mean, I can't even stress now, knowing what I know now. Gas tanks and gas tank maintenance and preparation is probably the best thing I can tell anybody out there. Learn and just get through the suck aspect of learning how to drop your gas tanks, especially for those older cars, because the coatings aren't there internally on those gas tanks. The flake is
Yep.
there. The sock's only going to catch so much. The filter's only going to catch so much. You've got injectors on that EFI. It's going to clog up. All those little pins inside the carbs, guess what? They're going to clog up. They get full of crap. It's going to destroy your bowls, all that kind of stuff. Best just to
Not
get
our
your gas
bowls.
tanks strong, huh?
Said not our bowls.
Not our bowls.
Just-
And so yeah. So, but I'm just saying it's one of those skill sets. Learn to love it and learn to get used to the understanding the products that go into those. Just my 2 cents. Like I said, Diego, you only got an hour. Guess what? YouTube, baby. Learn how to fall in love with
right.
gas tank
If
removals and additional work. Be
you know what, I would give this as a asterisk in terms of work. If you're not actually physically doing work for 1 hour, at the very least, do the
get your
research.
education up there. Yeah,
Yes,
get up
YouTube,
there.
whatever it is, find somebody that you trust and
Yeah. Let me
research.
see
Yeah.
here. Orlando, also an extra inch goes a long way. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and put a
I'm sure it's out of context, but
yeah. We're in metric, sir. That's 25.4 millimeters. Not splint. No.
Edgar Furman dropping in with us. Finally catching you guys live. We appreciate you joining up with us, Edgar.
Thanks, Edgar,
Thanks for
man.
coming. Let me
That's
see
yeah.
here. Orlando drove the 300X San Antonio and back. No issues. Thank God. Good job for you. It is
Good
boost
job.
weather right now.
Yes, that's
Boost
right.
weather. So boost away. Have fun with it. Didn't get to see us. Yes, you didn't, but we'll get together, man. Just give us a heads up, like a week in
Yeah.
advance. And me and Mike are pretty. We usually can break away from most stuff if we're not too bad. And we entertain folks that are kind of coming in and out of town. So if you
That's
are
true.
coming into town, let us know. You can come hang out with us, or we
Oof.
can meet up. Have some fun. Go get into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
I think we
So
said that in the past episode too. Like for those who pass through San Antonio either for a night or a weekend, give us a shout in advance. We have the Nissan Nerd package that we
yeah,
charge for a very nominal fee, and
we offer a tour. All right. And bail money on that. On top of that, Haley with the last comment for the night: boost weather equals no grip. Yeah, if you're partying like you are, yeah,
yeah,
no
yeah.
grip. Yeah, but I would definitely agree with her 100%. Moving along, we've got a lot to kind of cover for news, but before that, we've got to do our little our compi, especially now on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I want to give a. I'll go ahead and do the compi tonight. Give a salute to those in the Nissan family whom we wish good health, and to those who we may have lost. May we be reminded of them often.
All right, man, guys. Join us if you got it. Gunpei. Gunpei.
Mm. We've got a lot of news going on. We did want to give some shout outs to a birthday legend, Mike. You actually have the story on this one, and it
I
is one
do.
of your favorite people in the world. Go ahead.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, yes, because not only am I a huge Nissan fan, but I was raised on Ford, you might say, and of course this man is also very, very influential with Ford heritage, and we're talking about Peter Brock turning 86 years old. I'm going to share my screen on this. BRE founder Peter Brock, 86th birthday just happened just a little less than a week ago, or a little more than a week ago. He says, of course, everybody, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. What he did mention here on this page is that if there is anybody who is interested in donating to a cause that he is passionate about, maybe on his behalf or for his birthday, you might want to check this out. This is the University of California Davis School of Veterinary Medicine. They're based out of Sacramento, California. What makes this hospital and veterinary so special to Peter Brock is that they saved the life of his dog here. Is that the Shibu Inu? I'm not really good with dog breeds, but I was thinking that's a Dogecoin dog, right? That's just
Shiba. Is that right? I don't know. Somebody's gonna check
Shibu.
me on it. Let me know.
Yeah,
But I'm pretty. I thought it was a Shiba dog.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Either way, what he does say though is that this hospital has been very saved his dog's life, which means a lot to him and to Mrs. Brock as well. And Mrs. Brock is actually a volunteer and a member at the hospital as a council leadership council. So what they say is that if you can, I'm going to paste the link in the comments right now. So if you guys are interested in donating, they're saying that any donation that you can make for Peter Brock's birthday will go towards big ticket equipment purchases happening for the hospital. So again, that's share the love. This is all having to do with Nissan and
One of
one
our
of the
legends,
one
one of
of
the
yeah
the Nissan legends, out there, and we always love to support charities whenever we can. So yeah, if you can give, great. If not,
yeah
just spread the word. It's just as good. So
uh,
yeah,
yes
and
sir.
again,
Well,
big happy birthday to Mr. Peter Brock. We love to see him whenever we can catch up with him at a ZCon or
we
another
should see
Nissan event.
him, I believe, at the next ZCon, which will
We'll
be
probably see him in
next summer.
California at Z Convention this upcoming summer. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I would think we will because that's kind of in his hood. So yeah, we'll have to check him out.
for
But
sure, man.
moving along, we're going to move into Nissan news. There has been a lot of news. Me and Mike can be a little selective on what we want to choose here. We've kind of dwindled this down because we really want to kind of talk at the meat of the show. So we're going to dwindle this down to just a few little Nissan snippets, if you will. So we're
Mhm.
going to keep this kind of short today. Now, in Nissan news, I did want to give a shout out to Optima for the Optima Street Challenge. For those that hadn't been following it, there was kind of a bit of an upset. Now, for those that do not know, the Optima Challenge, and Mike, do you have the page?
Say it again.
Oh, let me take the steering wheel, I guess,
Steering wheel.
and I'll
I
share the Optima page. But yeah, recently there was an upset with the within the Optima Street Car Invitational that occurred this year. It was actually the win of a Nissan, which is no easy task, considering some of the competition that happens amongst that challenge. For those that have followed it over the years, and the this in my opinion, the Optimus Street Challenge was really dominated by like pro street vehicles for the longest time. And
okay.
then it kind of had these like just, I don't know, ultimate supercars that were kind of killing it for a little while. Now, out of that, and the reason why we wanted to kind of talk a little bit about this was this Nissan that actually won the title for the first time. And the reason why this was actually a Nissan GTR for those that don't know, and the reason why we kind of wanted to take look talk about this was just the article itself. Now we'll actually post this article on Facebook so you can read it in its entirety. But it kind of talks about the win of the this one man in his Nissan GTR, Mr. Bob Sobey. Now the story with Mr. Bob Sobey is he didn't just walk in off the street and attempt to win this challenge. The level of competition is so high that he actually suffered from a series of losses in the GTR for a number of years, and really needed to fine tune in the GTR and his driving abilities to get him to the point where he was more competitive and pretty much on an equal competitive level, and then basically squeak by with the win at the end. I mean, it was just that level of competitiveness towards the end. The last race, if you
Yeah.
read the article, he actually suffered from an oil leak that actually set him back in the morning. So he really didn't even place a competitive lap at that point. So he was kind of just winning right before the last round came up, had this oil leak, and then he went down, and then so he just basically had only this last evening run, this afternoon lunch run, if you will, that was going to basically decide if he was going to win or not. Tied for scores. I mean, it's practically a made for TV movie, and he basically goes up and just squeaks by, and ends up winning. And it's actually a really good article when you read it in its entirety, not just skim through it. But you can check out all the information on this about Mr. Bob Sobey's win. And actually, this is a lot of this is available through MAV TV. If you have a chance to check that out, I know I have a Samsung TV and I get that channel free.
Ah,
But if you want to check that out, it's actually a TV series again through MAV TV. If you want to catch it, I believe there's links on YouTube. We didn't find those, but again, you can check those out. If you're interested in the series for Optima, you can check out driveoptima.com for the 2023 season. Again, as the article put it, The target has now moved to Mr. Sobe's back, and competitors throughout the series are already plotting on how they may take his crown in 2023. Is one of the last
Ah,
final notes. I kind of like that. That it was an import that won it, but don't fall in love with this guy taking it for next year. But we hope so. So we're actually going to do our best to try to reach out to Mr. Sobe and see if maybe we can get him on the show. He can talk about a little of how stressful that season was for him to finally win,
that's a hell of a
and what it
story, man. Yeah,
yeah,
we'd
and
love
what
to
it
hear
kind
it
of
too.
took him to kind of get to that level. Because sometimes when that level of competitions like that, those little tweaks, those little details, those little tuning for the track, those are the things that are going to separate a winner from a competitor. So it'd be nice to kind of have him on the show. We'll see if we can try to reach out to him and get him on for one of these episodes. But yeah, the articles will be up on our Facebook page if you want to check that out in its entirety. But again, kudos and congratulations to Mr. Sobe on his 2022 championship. Nice.
Awesome, man. Congratulations. We've got a few people online too. I think Haley is familiar with Bob Sobey and his efforts, his team's efforts. So of course, saying congratulations, and she can attest that they've been working damn hard these past few years. So it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
like it's much
and the
deserved.
article kind of commented on it, but sometimes when people comment on stuff like that, especially like journalists and people that actually follow that series hardcore, which I can tell this journalist does,
Hmm.
it like when they say, oh, it was a competitive year for them. It's like they don't tell you about the heartbreak and the
That's
just the doom and the gloom
the
and the
PC
wins
answer.
and the peaks and the valleys, that go with that kind of stuff. And that really is racing. And yeah, and when you just kind of water it down like that, it doesn't really do it justice. But yeah, again, kudos to these guys for everything that they do, and we wanted to make sure we gave them a little shout out, and we recognize that. But yeah, we would love to hear a little bit more about some of the trials and tribulations that they kind of had to go through for that. So again, kudos to them, congratulations, and thanks Haley for the shout out on that one. So
Cool, cool. I've got the next next article here, guys, to share with you. I'm going to share my screen on this. I think you're gonna. Is that number one, Miles?
this is number 3.
Number three.
Daddy's going deep.
I got some catching up to do here.
Happy
All right, all right.
Thanksgiving, y'all. All right, let's go.
Mm.
Ooh,
Article I have here is coming from Motor Authority.
a thought
This
time.
article is saying that the Nissan CEO, Mr. Uchida-san, he is saying that Nissan is definitely making a new platform for the R36 GTR. And so what they're saying here, a really good article. Nothing in the way of renders or anything else. However, I will say that a lot of people have come in out of social media with their renderings of what the what the next GTR might look like. At this point, it's all speculation though. But they are cool. They're fun to look at actually. But what this article is saying here that uh, Uchida-san is saying that our goal is clear. The GTR has to be the quickest of its kind. It has to own the track, and it has to play the advanced technology game. Which is a very, very strong statement. It actually falls in line with exactly how I see GTR currently, as it has been very, very advanced, and it is a very intimidating vehicle when you see it in competition. So I think they've got the right vision for it. Nissan is saying that they are looking for a hybrid powertrain, but they are not certain. It's not clear just yet. They said that electrification may be necessary to achieve Nissan's performance goals. However, the decision also lies into what the customer's feedback that they receive, and also emission standards if they are going with a hybrid. As you remember, Miles, in the past we've commented about how countries in Europe and elsewhere have actually stopped selling the current model GTR because the emissions is out of the regulation for that part of the country or part of the world, I should say.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah. So
ooh.
it's a fine line. Emission standards. Ugh, yeah, yeah.
Save the whales. Ooh, I'm just. But hey, I do apologize. We need to save the whales. All right,
Yes.
for those whale people that happen to drop in on the podcast. We're totally about saving the
As
whales.
there are many, yeah.
But I'm gonna say save the GTRs too. All right, just throwing out there, just as important. That's just as important.
Yeah. Now, what I did like about this article, though, and it made me think about it, is when they said they want to play the advanced technology game, and the first thing I thought of when I heard that was computer chips, and then I think chip shortage. So I think there's no timeline on this, by the way. This is just a statement that they say that their vision is clear, but there is no timeline. I would imagine, though, that that timeline will have to be hopefully after we pass this whole shortage issue with chips. It's still an issue. We as we are recovering in many ways, the supply chain, it still exists. In fact, a few Nissan plants have been reducing their production lately, just as an example, though. So um, we'll see what happens in the future, though. Of course, as we'll be sharing with you guys what new updates come around, especially renders, official renders, I should say. You could spend an entire episode just looking at people's renderings, and they're fun to look at. But as we want to report the most accurate thing possible, so
We do our
until then,
best.
it's just fun.
There is a lot of fake news and trolling news out there.
Hmm.
I mean, it was the worst with the new Z. And if you can go back and
Yeah.
listen to some articles and watch the shows, and it was just like, I mean, literally, we were sorting through dozens and dozens of articles when they were getting ready to drop the new Z, and it was insane. But so we're gonna let the dust settle a little bit. As soon as we can get information, confirm information from some of our sources, we'll give you the best bad news or fake news that we can. So we'll
The
filter out and give
only
you
the
the
finest
only
fake
the
news
finest fake news will make it on this podcast, and
from
then
your friends at the Nissan
eventually
Nerd
we'll have
Podcast. Yeah.
real information. We'll give that to you as soon as
I,
we know. So
I always thought it was funny. I think you may have said this early in the podcast, which was like, with our podcast, like you heard it here second. It's
well, I mean, come on, let's be realistic. We're good at what we do, but we're not always in like news media rooms and
oh yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
So
We're
it is
not,
what it
we
is.
don't have those credentials, but we do our best
Come on,
with
with a
what we're
mustache
given.
like this, they ain't gonna let nobody in. It's just come on. So, but you know what?
Yes.
We do our best and we do what we can for you guys. But moving right along, fresh off the Nissan news desk, I've got a new article for you, and I did want to kind of show this to everybody. Go ahead, Mike.
Sure,
The
sure.
new Nissan Z actually made it to the finalist for the North American Car of the Year. For those that are not aware of what this kind of entails, they take a series of vehicles, and those vehicles basically are scrutinized by 50 leading independent U.S. and Canadian automotive journalists, and they kind of peruse and figure out who's going to finish in those top numbers. But right now, one of the three finalists is the new Nissan Z. Um, the finalization of this, we should hear something around January. They say around January 11th is their announcement. We'll hold them to the date. So we expect that exactly at 8 a.m. in the morning on January the 11th. But we'll definitely let you know what is the outcome. But I mean, to even be in the top ranking, it kind of says something. So kudos to everybody that worked on the project. Kudos to everybody at Nissan who had a hand in the new Z. But yeah, I love the fact that it's ranking in the top three. That's just cool news.
Heck yeah. I mean, of course, it's had a major uh, articles and a lot of anticipation this year, and it finally having been production versions released to dealerships and sold. Of course,
Just
it took over SEMA. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, just and that's the thing. I mean, let's talk a little bit about thanks, if you will, here on Thanksgiving. Let you know, there's been this huge, massive chip shortage, not only with Nissan, not and also these huge growths concerns that they've been battling over the last year to do everything that they've done. This entire shift and this entire, unfortunately letting people go and then redeveloping areas so they could bring people back and then developing new lines of cars and unfortunately having to trim the fat on stuff that wasn't selling. That's a lot for a manufacturer to do
Hmm.
and a brand to do. So when people ask me like, why are you so into the brand? I mean, because there's so much movement. It's always chaotic, and on the outskirts of what's
Hmm.
happening with Nissan, but at the same time, it's a brand that really pulls at it- like the underdog in me. I love the
Yeah.
fact that we're always trying to do these like we don't give a damn. We're going to do what we want to do, and I love that we do that as a brand. And to put out the Z in a standard when everybody else is putting out automatics, to look at everybody else is wanting to put out you know electronic options.
Yes.
Nissan's like, you know what? Screw it. We're just gonna give you twin turbos.
Who?
I'm like,
Yeah.
come
Yep.
on. That's like it doesn't get it. You have to understand the brand has that underdog. We are underdogs. We are not the cool kids. We are the goth kids. With our hair to the side at the table, and that's what I love about the brand. I love the fact that like I can see another person with a Nissan like at a car show, and we're like, we just kind of, what's up? Like we just
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a cool kid thing, and I love that about it.
Yeah.
We're never going to get we're not supermodels. We're solid sevens. You
So
know
we're
what I mean?
solid
We're solid
sevens. Yeah.
sevens, and I'm okay with being a
I,
seven.
I do like the idea that having a manual transmission in 2022 is considered innovative. How cool is that? Like you're 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 trailblazing the way with the 6-speed manual transmission. Just
I
keeping it.
agree. Yeah. So kudos to everybody that worked hard on that project for being getting the recognition for that. I'm assuming that's a huge deal, and especially getting that right before the oncoming of Thanksgiving. I think you guys earned it. So everybody that had an opportunity to work on that project, if you're listening again, thank you for all your hard work. I think we've said this a couple times so far. Also, a big thanks to all the marketing folks that really put hours and hours of overtime and work and efforts to get it.
Mhm.
Dan Pass and all his teams, Casey Kilmer for driving the Z all over the damn country and showing it off at every damn event, who didn't sleep most nights because he was driving from one event to the next event. Kudos to all those guys out there that did all the hard work on that project. It's obviously paying out at this point.
It is.
So again, that's all I'm going to say on that one. But a big. I just want to give a little shout out. It's Thanksgiving. You know, Daddy's 3 beers deep. I start loving everybody. Everybody love everybody. It's the way it kind of goes. I did want to give a shout out to the chat. Haley said, "Guess who PM'd Brian Vella and Bob Sobey?" So I guess she PM'd him and let him know that we were talking
Heck
about it.
yeah.
So very very cool. Yeah, hopefully they'll come on.
Awesome.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
Bert with the love.
Yeah.
Yes, Bertie. Yeah, we love you
Love you
too,
too,
buddy.
buddy.
I've been watching you on Facebook, Bert, and it looks like you were. He's hunkering down for his winter events, and Bert just kind of works on his cube and like tricks that out. And like, I love the nerddom of Bert. So yeah, keep up your Facebook post, man. I love looking at those and checking them out. Brian Vella jumped in on with us.
Woo!
Oh, what's up, man?
What's up,
Kudos.
man? Thank you for being here.
Thanks for
Yeah,
being us, and thank you
yeah.
for letting Haley drag you in on this. But yeah, kudos to you and your
Oh
efforts
yeah.
for this season. So
Congratulations. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So moving along with Nissan news, that's about
yeah.
it that I've got. You got one last one? You got one to go?
I've got one more. This will be the
Oh,
final article for us in news segment anyway. Here, this is sort of a. The reason why I mention this is for the Home for the Holidays edition, right? That's what it seems like. Well, guess who gets to come home today for Thanksgiving? Let's go ahead and add to the screen here. Oh man,
oh,
the Taylor father and son, the father and son involved with the Gozen escape from Japan. The father was a Green Beret. I believe the son was as well. Didn't know this about him though. I knew that they were extradited and housed at the detention house in Japan as early as March 2021. They were arrested in May the year before. However, their sentences, which were 20 months and 24 months, it the son, Peter Taylor, he's already home. He's home for the holidays. He's back in Massachusetts. And the father, Michael Taylor, has, I think, 2 months left. He's currently in Los Angeles detention house. But they will be, I think the lawyer's fighting to get him home before the end of the year. So um, the only reason I mentioned this too, because this seems like a Home for the Holidays movie that hasn't been made yet.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
so I was
It's a home
thinking,
for the holidays movie that probably shouldn't be made, right? That's what it
yeah,
is. You know who doesn't care? That guy doesn't care right there.
that guy don't
I
care.
pay them my
Not
money.
anymore.
They
Well,
got me
it,
out in this flute case, and
let
that's
me
just
tell
the
you,
end of that.
what they say here too. That in the article they said that
They got,
if the courts think that they made riches off of this daring escape, according to the testimonies here, they said uh, they denied they had benefited monetarily because the payments just covered expenses. I don't know whether now I don't know if it's I don't know. That's I- maybe
maybe
somebody
they're
didn't have enough
hardcore
time.
Nissan fans, and we're just giving them a whole lot of beef. I
Yeah,
mean, maybe they're like hardcore Datsun guys that were just like,
one guy's
we're getting him out.
that one
Like,
guy owns a Nissan NX 2000. No, I'm
no,
joking.
I was like, no
Just the most
way,
obscure
no
Nissan.
way. Like, just something completely weird. Just like, yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah.
something like just totally odd. That'd be well, I wouldn't be hilarious, but yeah, that'd be now that is a made for TV movie that I would watch. But
Yes, it would. Yeah.
yeah, for those that don't know, we typically don't try to cover a lot of the Golden stuff, but it's been all over the news lately. Netflix has this new episode, a new series. If you want to
A
check out
documentary. Yep.
documentary, you can go and check that out. Goes in my life in a flute case. You can check that out. I forgot what it's called, so therefore I had to make up a name.
The
And
Curious Case of Carlos Ghosn,
there you go.
Fugitive.
See,
Yes,
yeah, there you
yes.
go. And it's
You know.
it's a play on words. It's a case, the curious case.
Oh,
Case,
yeah.
case. Snuck out in a case. Ah, you didn't catch that, did you?
I had to
It's
play
a
on
little
words. I
dad
thought it was
joke
a
for you.
Benjamin Button thing going on here or something like that. Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes no sense whatsoever.
Well,
Jesus
no,
Christ.
because it's the movie title. Never mind. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it
Now
does.
it does. No.
Moving on. But yeah, Ion's going. So when's the dramatic movie? I don't know. Who would play Gone? Let's talk
Ooh.
about that.
Miss Roman Atkinson, Mr. Bean.
He's dead.
No, no, he's not.
Isn't he
Is he?
dead? Mr.
He
Bean's
can't
dead,
be
right?
dead.
I thought Mr. Bean died.
No, I'm looking it up right now.
All my Brits out there, confirm. I don't know.
Rowan Atkinson. He can't
Okay,
be.
I'm gonna let you look that up because this is
He's a British
obviously not
treasure. No.
Nissan news.
He
But who would
is.
play him? I don't
He's
know.
age 67. I don't
I'm gonna
see any.
say somebody needs to play him that's truly aggressive. I don't know.
He won an Oscar for God's sake.
Who?
Put some respect on the name,
Put some
sir.
respect, sir. It should be a sir for that. All right.
Sir Mr.
Um.
Bean. Yeah, Sir
Oh yeah.
Bean.
So
Yeah, that's
let's see here. Moving on. Rowan looks to be alive. All right. Ion said he's alive, so therefore he's alive.
okay.
We'll leave it at
Okay.
that. Haley Meyer said, "Did you guys talk about the GT4Z?" Yes, we did. We talked about
We
it
did.
last
They
episode.
were it debuted at SEMA.
Yeah, debuted at SEMA, and it's 204 billion yen. Um,
uh,
whatever that is.
it's a
But
impressive car.
unobtainium.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably it may not be unobtainium for everybody, but yeah, it pretty cool. But what was it? $200,000.
250,000, I think.
There you go.
230,
And in
250
yen, that's
US. Yeah, yeah.
quadrillion,
Uh,
zillion. There you go. That's what it is. It's zillion. It's 1 zillion.
Impressive car though. I like the fact that you can get it from the dealership as is, and the body in white, and all the
Just
goodies
go at it.
attached.
Slap
Plug
some
and play, man.
stickers. Slap some
Or most
stickers on it, and
cases,
you're
yeah,
good to go.
yeah.
Moving along, that takes care of everything for news, and now we have to talk a little bit about motorsports. So what Nissan's doing officially in the motorsports world. Now taking it off from there, we hit Formula E pretty hard here when it comes in because it's such a huge sucker of motorsports budget for Nissan.
Yeah,
Mike, you follow everything Formula E with Nissan. Tell them what they
yeah.
want.
Cool. Actually, I have two stories for you guys. I think you're gonna like this one. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again on this. The first one is that for anybody who has been on the Nissan Formula E team Facebook page, you may have gotten a notice last week that says that as of November 15th, the account will not be updated, and that all interest and news will be directed through the official Nissan Nismo social media pages. In this case, Facebook, I imagine also with Instagram and other outlets. So the Nissan Formula E team is not that page is really going to become obsolete. It's on its way. For those who are interested, definitely go, and if you haven't already, join the Nismo social media pages on your platform of choice, I guess you can say. That's the first story. Also, I should actually, what I need to tell you is that Nismo.com got a really nice refresh front page, and you're looking at it right now, guys. Here, Miles, this makes our job a little bit easier because you see this nice
We
front end.
finally
All you
got a
gotta do is
page
check this out. You scroll
that should be
down.
updated from
Okay, you got
time to
their
time.
mission. Boom. It literally says number one, Formula E, number two, Super GT, which is what we cover, right? Oh man, click of a mouse. Boom. There we are, dude. So Nismo.com, for those who are interested, take a look. It's actually pretty good. Like I said, our job got easier on that one. Uh, the second thing I want to share with you guys about Formula E, of course, this has nothing have to do with, I guess you could say, the team itself, aside from the website. Of course, the season is done for 2022. Next season will start in January. So what is that? Just under 2 months from now, season 9 will start. However, there are going to be some major changes happening in Formula E. Three specifically, and I actually really like them all. So that's good. I was going to tell you about them. First one is having Formula E is going to introduce charging pit stops amid this massive overhaul that they're having. So currently, pit stops are not a thing in Formula E. It hasn't been for the last 8 years. Um, what they're saying here now is that uh, there will be a pit stop which takes 30 seconds, and they have one of the most powerful chargers that you can put onto an EV vehicle that will deliver 600 kilowatts. It's a 600 kilowatt charger delivering 4 kilowatt hours of charge in just 30 seconds.
So a quick charge, basically.
It's a quick charge for sure. And what this is supposed to do, this pit stop, is that it will, if this trialing and this method is successful, it will replace the attack mode. Um,
Oh, the
if
attack
you've
phase. Yeah,
watched,
because the attack mode strips that you would drive over, they would
yes,
give you a little boost. You could a boost of juice, if you will, that you could
right,
use somewhere in the race. Kind of like I hate to say it. We talked about this before. It was very
like
Mario Kartish.
video
If you
gamey,
Yeah,
yeah.
video gamey. So apparently that's going away. So there's no more Super Rumble strip that's going to exist anymore. Now it's going to all happen in the
Well,
pits, which is kind of nice because it kind of lines up with F1 and the chess match that
and
kind of happens
strategy,
in the pits in the strategic aspect of it. Again, I
yes.
said chess match. You're more of a checkers guy. It's okay. But yeah, I will say I will agree with you. Actually, it's there is a lot more strategy that's going to be placed out in regards to
Yeah.
that. Stopping into the pit, figuring out how much charge you can get in that, doing the quick math on that, and then realizing that you now have an attack mode that you can basically press button A and launch that sucker whenever you need to on the
Well,
straightaways or whatever you're going to do. So,
I need to say two things. One is that this is still going to, the 2023 season is still what you might consider a trial season
mhm.
for this particular pit stop strategy
Okay.
or addition. In this article, they had given it an analogy similar to what F1 is doing with their sprint races. It's not all of the tracks that are, or all of the venues that will have this feature, but it is a trialing for this year. And if it is successful, then we will see it more or have it
So they're gonna
be a
trial it
permanent thing.
for like
Yes,
a first couple races and then
it's going to be
play
off
it
and
by
on.
ear, if you
Yeah.
will. Okay.
Yes, yes. I think of all the races they have, I think it's like 16 or so. Who knows? Maybe 4 or 5 will actually have
Can I
this
ask you a
feature.
question? Is it going to be like the old Rush games where you would hit a button, you would tap on the gas pedal twice, and you would just do the you would do the flip?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
The
like,
flip
okay,
off the ramp, right? No,
woo! We've thrown all the reality out on video
yeah,
games nowadays. But yeah, but no,
uh,
very cool. I do like.
yeah.
Honestly, I like this aspect. It makes it,
It,
and that was one of the things that Formula E was kind of battling, the hokiness of it. Like people just weren't giving it the true nod of racing. And I think if we make it more competitive, more strategic, it begins to give it lends credibility back to the race and And I personally think it brings up the interest. We've talked about this in the past. I hope that Netflix finally does something with Formula E, and because it's Netflix has just brought up so much interest level in F1. I mean,
Yep.
I cannot see if they do something with Formula E,
Yep.
the interest level kind of coming up in that.
Well,
I don't know. Cool.
Well, I got to say though too, yes, I think Formula E is on the rise. It has been. I think that not only are we getting, I have two more changes I need to share with you, by the way. But
Ooh.
what's also significant, and of course we've said it in the past here, is that in season nine, this 2023 season, we're getting the third generation Formula E car, and we're
Ah.
seeing uh, essentially the formula's changed, right? So we get an EV car that is lighter. It's lighter. It's 25% faster. They have a higher top speed that is much. It's getting a lot closer to F1 speeds. We're I believe we're getting very close to that 200-mile-an-hour peak. The real constraint now that's going to be happening, and we're going to see this, I think, for the upcoming year, is that these tracks that the Formula E league have been using, these cars are outgrowing the tracks. So I think, as a result of what's going to happen this next year, that in 2024, let's say, we're going to see, I think we're going to have to see some more competitive tracks where overtaking is more available, or longer straights, because a lot of these tracks honestly are street tracks, and they are fun, but again, the cars are outgrowing the tracks are outgrowing the car's performance at this point, and it could get into an area where the league is becoming more unsafe. That's sort of something that F1 improved on in the 90s, even. But getting into the two other changes that I think are very, very interesting, and I like this for the Formula E season. Second one is that fan boost, something that we've promoted here in the past, Miles, is no longer going to be a thing. Fan boost has been a feature where every team involved with Formula E encourages their fans to vote, essentially submit their vote a few days before the race, and the team that gets the most votes gets an extra attack mode charge. I think it's a very cool way to encourage participation, but I think after the last 8 years of having to trial this thing, maybe it is not as realistic. I admire the attempts, but I think I like the fact that it's going away as well, honestly. So fan boost is going away, and the last change is going to be that these races will no longer be based on number of minutes. Uh, this entire time before, what would happen is the race would be 45 minutes plus one lap. That was the way that they based these races. Not anymore. In the future, here it's going to be lap based racing. So it is another step closer to most traditional races that you see, on Sunday, on the weekend. So I think these moves are good for the league. And again, when you combine that with a car that's way more powerful, way more competitive, we're going to see a really, really good 2023 season. So I'm actually really excited for this. The season begins January 14th. And of course, Miles, we will be
Covering it.
recapping. Oh, of course.
Yes.
Man, I want to say more so because of so many good things that are exciting things that are happening this next year. We're going to have to really, you know, give it as much as everything that we've got uh, to do it.
I'm down. Let me see here. Comments. Ion chimed in. Netflix was supposed to release a Formula E documentary, Unplugged. There was an article about it around this time last year, and I agree with him. I think we shared the same article, but haven't seen anything come to fruition on it. I was gonna agree with him 100%. I think there is something out there. Hopefully, it's under the radar, and then we'll just see it drop, out of the clear blue before the new season begins. I hope so. Ion dropped the link on it as well. We'll go ahead and add that into the Facebook page. So if anybody wants to check that out, they're more than welcome. I'm going to step
Yes.
back a little bit here. Haley chiming again on the GT4Z. She wanted to mention that. What about the fact that she's the GT4? She means is set to race next year in the Pirelli GT4 American Series. Yeah, we mentioned. I think we kind of touched on it. We didn't hear a confirm on that, but we definitely
Oh,
heard something about. that there was a potential for the Pirelli GT4 American Series to have the new Z in it.
We we
I
didn't know
hope
that. Yeah,
that's confirmed. I think we just like we
we
touched on it.
speculated.
We speculated. There you
Yeah, I
go. That's a
remember
good
that.
word.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I hope to see it on it.
400
I hope it dominates. Quite honestly. But we'll see as it comes through. We will feed information. Haley, if you get information on it and we don't have that information, feed us. Let us know so that way we can figure out what's going on and know it's be in the
Please.
know.
Yeah.
So we always take information, spread it out for the masses. But yes, we would love to see that. We're kind of lined up with you. Confirmed, so she says. So
Confirmed.
confirmed. All right, it's confirmed. I hope we see some pictures. We'll have to start following their site and see if we can get in line with them. See who's going to be, what teams are going to be competing, and we'll go from there. So
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll have to look at.
very,
We'll have to get more into it.
very cool. So Ion says yes. All right. Now moving on from there. It's been we skipped a week here, and I didn't want to skip last week, solely for the fact that I was super excited that one of my teams dominated and destroyed a Super GT,
Woo.
and I'm going to tell you all about it. And I'm gonna play some B-roll in the background, Mike,
Sure.
while I talk about how amazing of a season this has kind of been. Now, this is just some footage out from the round five. But for those that aren't aware, the Super GT actually finally ended round eight at Motegi. Just came to a completion on the fifth and sixth of this month here in November, and I have to say it's probably one of the craziest races I've ever seen, especially not only on the 300 but also on the 500 series. The Calsonic team pulled it out, ended up taking the championship in the 500 class,
Woo.
and it was a hell of a drive. Originally going into this, the points were kind of lined up to where I was thinking the Craft Sport Motul Z was gonna take it.
Oh,
And then in the race, the Calsonic Impul on the 500 series ended up coming in second place behind the an NSX, but in points, it put them right at the lead. So they ended up taking first place in the series and they became the champions for this year in the Calsonic Impulse Z. So again, a big shout out to those guys for racing just a hell of a race. Now, I do not want to understate that by the 300 class. So the Realized Nissan Mechanic Challenge GTR, which competed and won the year before last, they won the championship in 2020. In 2021, unfortunately, they did not take the full championship. They did very well, but they unfortunately did not win the championship. But they actually ended up taking the 300 series this year. And Mike, give me the steering wheel one more time. I
sure.
was this is actually taken straight from the Super GT page,
Oh,
and
really?
I want to go it from the top. So this is obviously the press conference for the GT 500 class, where the Calsonic Impulse Z, and then of course the 300. Now I do want to read off a few quotes here from the two drivers. We'll start with the 300 class first. Car number 56, again the Realized Nissan Mechanic Challenge GTR. Fujinami basically said, "Hey, this is a really great." That we won. We won the title in 2020, but lost it last year. It wasn't an easy task to get consecutive titles, and there was trouble again this year. They kept us from getting any series points, which I would agree that happened about early in the series. So this is a real miracle. I knew that if we didn't give up hope at the end, we could still win the title. After we won the first round of this season, the success weight we had to carry was a real burden. But thanks to great efforts of the team and the people of Yokohama Tire, we were able to maintain our lead in the series points, and that got us this amazing result. I'm really so glad for this all. And then Olivara basically said the same thing. He talked more about his experience on that race. He started off driving the vehicle initially in the day and ran into a series of issues. Ran through some dirt on the track where he picked up on his tires. Had to wait for the tires to get clean, and then also he got stuck behind a pace car. That kind of set him back. So he did his best. Honestly, He did a hell of a drive. If you go back and watch the series, and I've put the entire race, 3 hours, on Facebook page. You can go back and watch it. And really, he's kind of that unsung hero. He really tried to keep the car competitive, and when he handed off to his teammate, who was Fujinami, who finished it up, he really tried to give him the best car and the best opportunity and set him up for the win, and he did. So again, kudos to him in the 300 class, for taking the championship. Something similar again happened with the in the 500 class with the Impulse Z. Again, these guys were fighting. It's so crazy. They were fighting for the win, but they kind of just couldn't get out of second place. They were always like a second or a second and tenths behind that NSX. They couldn't just get the speed to pass. But Baguette actually, again, had a full course yellow, had some issues with the safety car kind of intervening. And then they also pick up some garbage on the track from some loose rubber. And he basically had to hand off the car as well, for his teammate, Hiramin, to basically take it in and win on that second place, again, finishing in the points. So again, a really hell of a drive. I did want to give a strong shout out to car number 10, the Tenax GTR. If you go back and watch the full race, that car fought one of the best defensive battles I've seen on a Super GT race in a really long time. There is a part where he's fighting off a NSX for probably 3 rounds. I want to say it's like probably like lap 56. It's probably the last 10 rounds. Some of the best defensive driving I've ever seen from a driver, just
Yeah.
passing light contact because it's Super GT. They did some light contact, but he wasn't able to kind of help, but he held that NSX back for a long time, for 3 maybe 5 laps from my memory. And then after that, they had a hurricane, if you will, that he also was fighting back and running defense on. Again, to me, just no takeaway from these champions that obviously won, but go back and watch the number 10 to Nax. Some awesome driving by that team, not
Yeah.
to take away from them too as well. So,
Uh, wow.
but yeah, again, that is the championship series, man, and it truly is a hell of a race. Um,
Oh no! We're having some connection issues. Miles will check in with us in just a second here, though, too. I'm trying to think about Super GT Series, though. It is the end of the season, and I believe you'll have the results here, too, for the end of the season. Let's see, we are back on here. Oh, I'm trying to think whether. We'll see if we get him back on here. We are at Super GT. We've got one other series here, too, that we will recap here. Oh, here he is. Hold on.
Sorry, man.
What the hell happened, man?
I got so excited. I hit the leave studio button, and I was like talking. I was like, oh, but the best part, even the best part, and unfortunately, I got kicked out. My apologies.
You leaving me on the screen by myself like Garth from
You're
Wayne's
just like,
World, you know? Uh...
ah. Well, again, my apologies for that. That was not intentional by any means. If I drop out again, just finish the show on your own. What's the big deal, right? It's not that big of a deal. But
I'm
again,
just...
to pick out where I left off, kudos to everybody at the Super GT. I love this photo in the background. This is the one of the Calsonic drivers who finished up the route. Just very emotional. Again, I left the full race on the Facebook page. I would highly recommend going and just checking out, putting it on your background while you're in the garage if you want to check out some stuff. But again, kudos to them. I'm really proud of those guys pulling it out. The Z really dominated. The GTR dominated this year. I'm super excited about what's going to be coming up next year. You had talked about some changes that are happening with Formula E for next year.
Yeah.
There's also some changes that are going to be happening with Super GT potentially. So
Mm,
right now, the day after the final round at Motegi,
Hmm.
which was the 8th of this month, they were actually tracks are testing out carbon neutral fuel that may be used for the upcoming 2023 season.
Wow.
Supposedly, the drivers are giving positive comments. I don't know if this is additional power or maybe consistent, fuel burn or things like that. But supposedly, that may be something that may be part of next year, just as a little asterisk, if you will,
What
for next year.
whatever it takes to keep internal combustion engines, I'm pretty much going to be that ride or die. That's the technology I grew up with, and that's how I likes it. Damn it, you know what I mean? It's just like,
Oh my God! Wow,
yeah,
for
yeah.
for all our Australian brothers, Mike's killing the Australian with the great coral reef on his
Oh,
own. So
hey, speaking
I
of comments, you're talking about comments here. We did get some comments from online while you were away. We're thinking
yeah,
too many
Daddy's.
beers,
I'm giving
and
thanks.
another one,
So
Bertomatic does say here, did you
spill
spill
your
it on
beer
your
on my
computer?
pewter.
It's
Yeah,
blip, blip,
well,
blip, blip,
maybe
blip,
I
blip,
did.
blip.
Maybe I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's rare that Daddy gets sideways for the holidays. But yeah, Merry Christmas. We'll see. We got another a little bit of time here. We'll see how twisted we get. We're barely halfway through the show, so we still got a lot to go on. Now, I
Yeah.
did want to kind of take a little bit of time, and we talked about Formula E, Super GT. I did want to give a shout out to the Nissan Challenge. Mike, I know you've been really following it. Both of us have been following it, but
Yeah.
we wanted to talk about some of the racing results from the Nissan Challenge.
We do actually. So since we last spoke about it last episode, there was been one round that took place is on November 20th. This took place at the Chuckwalla Valley Raceway. This is east of Los Angeles. I want to say it's in between Los Angeles and San Diego, just further east. Um, eastern part of California, though. However, let me share my screen on this. I do. This is the itinerary. There is only one round left that'll happen on December 11th at Willow Springs International Raceway. Just by the way, though. However, I do have some results I want to share with you guys from the most recent race. Now, again, this is all about us learning more and more as we kind of increase our base of knowledge about Nissan Challenge. So I did some research. Last episode, I mentioned that the Nissan Challenge has four classes, four racing classes, and it ranges from Class 1 being from modified GTR R35s and for those who wish to compete with them, essentially. So, Class 2 is race oriented cars, allowing for aerodynamics. Class 3 is intended for mid level non turbo cars or stock turbo cars, and Class 4 being your low powered non turbo cars. So, of course, the best way to think about it is Class 1 is some of your most unlimited, like race oriented. Class 4 is more of your street based cars. So, essentially, anybody can compete if they wish to. There is a class for you on this though. But going down the line here, Class 1 had 17 entries. Sorry, for the season, there are 17 entries. It says here that getting into let's check it out right here. Near the end, we have a first and second place. Let's see here. Charles Park in his R35 gets first place, currently with 112 points for the season. Mike Zuniga in his Z34 Nissan Z is in second place with 19 points. It's a big spread, just under 100 points spread. So, as you can tell here, and what we're seeing in this spreadsheet is that it's not that every driver attends every race. It's really it comes down, I'm sure, to availability amongst a lot of things. I think you get this a lot with grassroots series races. Is that this is not a professional team? You know, people's got daily lives, full-time jobs that they're trying to fit in along with their passion. So the points kind of reflect that, I think, amongst other issues that you could see happening, which is car breaks down. Maybe you need more time to fix it in between races. A number of reasons, though. But again, Class 1, we've got Charles Park, Mike Zuniga, and John Stramotis. First, second, third, they are running in GTRs and the Z34Z. Class 2, our top three. In first place with 81 points for the season, Luke Lederman and his Z33 Nissan 350Z.
Nice.
Second place with 50 points, Tom. I'm gonna butcher names, man. I'm just gonna call him Tom. Yeah, G35, G37, racing at G37, third place, 43 points. Michael, again, I'm just gonna not gonna butcher anything. Z34. Again, these are just cars that anybody can buy, and just with enough passion and enough dedication, you can compete.
There's a lot
So
that goes into these, man, to dial it in and be competitive at this level. I don't
yeah,
know. I know Charles pretty well. I've known him for many years, and I know how competitive he is, being that he's also a suspension guru, if you will. I
yeah,
know he's no stranger to being at the track for many years. And some of these other names I've seen come through the ranks
yeah,
years and years through racing series. So again, I would say if you're going to be stepping into this, bring your A game. Um, it seems like everybody in this Nissan Challenge is really kind of, at least at the top tier, is shooting for the moon. And
yeah,
I don't know. That's why, and that's kind of why I thought this series demanded our attention, because
yeah,
I really think this is one of those up and coming series that's really going to get traction. And then next thing you know, it's really a big series event. I love the fact that it's brand specific and it literally offers a platform for just about everybody to kind of put in. If you kind of go through the ranks for the last few years, you'll see S13s that are kind of some of the S13s. I've seen
yes,
some S series like 240Zs that are kind of in there.
yep,
Some obviously we've seen some R32s, R33s, R34s, all the Z's we've kind of seen. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's pretty cool. And the fact that they're doing class standings, they're breaking up into classes and going from there depending on your level of how hardcore you want to get. But honestly, man, I want to kind of make it out to a couple of these races. I really want to see more footage. I want to see more coverage. I want to hear more input from some of these drivers and some of these event organizers, and we're
yeah,
really passionate about it. So if you are one of those folks that compete in that, or you want to talk about it, or what you hope to gain in the next season, or where you kind of are standing at in the current season, let us know. We want to know.
yeah,
Edgar Furman, yep, you
yep.
go, oh hey, that's
That's
us. Yeah,
yeah.
we want to hear
He's the
from you, man.
guy.
we,
We
we'd
got
love
to
to
talk
kind
to
of
him.
have you on the show and kind of talk about this kind of stuff. It's passion.
Yeah.
We love it when people are passionate about some of the same things that we are. So we love that stuff. So yeah, we'd love to have you
Okay.
on, Edgar. We'll talk offline, see if we can get you on the show and kind of talk about it, just like anybody else is that is out there turning the corners. Just let us know. So,
Absolutely.
um, go ahead, Mike.
This season has 8 rounds. Of course, we're near the last round happening December 11th again at Willow Springs. However, again, Mike Miles, as you were saying, that getting into opportunities to see one of these races in the future. Hey, we've got a few chances throughout the year. As you can tell, it's a year-round uh, league. There was a summer break, but it is possible. By the way, Edgar, just to let you know, since ZCon is actually going to be in the Los Angeles area in late July, if you are in the middle of arranging your 2023 season, maybe see if we can coordinate and get you guys in maybe the weekend before or after uh,
Yeah.
our ZCon.
Yeah, that way we can develop a little more fan base for you. Maybe try
Maybe
to
get
push some.
a nice road trip out there to come see you guys
Yeah, we'd
race.
love to
Yeah.
help you promote or help you out. And, shit pit crew. We've done that before. A
Yeah, yeah.
number of times. So, but yeah, kudos to you. Best of luck. We're sending
Yes, sir.
positive vibes your way, and yeah, we'd love to hear what you have to kind of talk about for the series. And then again, a big kudos out to the Nissan Challenge team that puts this event together. It's no easy task to coordinate all this year after year. So again, we want to make sure that we're sending them all the positive energy and support that we can every year. We will continue to follow them and keep you updated as we go through there. Go through the series, finishing it out this year, and then of course continuing into next year. Again, thank you again. Thanksgiving, we're giving thanks. Thanks to those guys for all their hard work this year.
Same here.
It's been a great event, and we're happy that we're part of the promotional team for that, if you will, with making people aware of it. So great.
Yep. Yep. All right, Miles. That wraps up motorsports update, and now we get into the
Oh,
fun, some more fun stuff.
it's beer drinking time. All
There you
right.
go. Take one for sure.
So
I
go
had
ahead.
an idea. There was an article that popped up and it brought up a really cool idea for me. Maybe we could talk about it for just a little bit. But I'll share my screen on this as well. You may have saw this, and for those of you online, you may have saw this as well. Jay Leno was discharged from the hospital. He had actually experienced severe burns from a
Oh,
gasoline fire in his garage. Of course, you might know Jay Leno's Garage, which is a series. Jay Leno, of course, is a comedian and the host of the Tonight Show for many, many years.
yep.
Kind of been the car guy, always with the same uniform, I guess you might say. He had a accident with a gasoline fire. It was on one of his steam locomotive cars, the ones that who knows, 1912 something or other. Uh, Very, very unfortunate. But this story and this experience that he had kind of brought up a topic to me, which was garage horror stories. So I thought maybe me and you could each tell a story that involves some sort of accident or perhaps an injury with our personal projects. And what we want to do after this, and for you guys that are online with us, go ahead and start thinking about it. Type in the comments, and we want to share your stories afterwards. So
Yeah, tell us
please think
about your
about it.
most grotesque stories, and why you're thankful to be alive here on Thanksgiving. I guess
Good day.
is the weird gothic way that we'll kind of talk about this. But before we move on, I did want to go. We're going to do a little two steps back to go one step forward.
Okay.
Give a shout out. Edgar said we're planning on being at ZCon next year. I'll definitely be at the track event with my Z32. Hell yes. Thanks for the support. Not a big deal, man. We're happy to help you.
Same here, man.
Haley, another congrats. The Life Motorsports GTR. Yes, we've talked about that on the show before. Sydney version won the Global Time Attack Finals at Buttonwillow. Yeah,
Mm.
nice. But yes, that's a hell of a ride. We've seen that a couple of times at Super Lab Battle, I
Yeah,
think.
the Life
Yeah.
Motorsports.
So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
records.
saw those guys.
I think I
Yeah.
set a few records somewhere along the line.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. I mean
for
that
sure.
thing's a beast. So
Yeah,
yeah, kudos.
absolutely.
All right. So you asked garage horror stories.
That or injury stories. I know I've
Is
got
where
one
you
in
want to
mind.
party. Is where you want to you want
Just
to go.
one.
You want to go low to go high. I see
No,
what you mean.
well, not even that. I mean, and I shouldn't have said horror story, but
You want to
what I
talk about
think
that
of.
time I lost a finger? I mean, I get it. All right. No big
Right.
deal. What's the
No.
big deal? So it's not like I
Yeah, yeah.
needed that finger.
But and I feel for a guy like Jay because he is very, very passionate. And
Mm.
again, I've heard it in multiple interviews about the guy is that if you really want to connect with the guy, you talk about cars with him. He just instantly can really connect with anybody, honestly. But I'm just glad he's okay. This picture is here part of his recovery. He had skin grafts for God's sakes. You can see some of the areas, his hand too, and it's a little crispy, man. So again, being thankful, I'm glad he is safe though. But I figured this would be a time for us to reflect on sometimes that maybe we had
Garage
issues
safety.
with.
So that right now, what's funny is there's a guy listening to us live, and he's like cranking away with no gloves on, no eye, and he's just like, and he's just stopping for a quick second, and
He's
he's
like,
like,
meh.
oh, eh, because
Keep on.
what are these guys going to teach me that I haven't already learned through scars and stuff? But yeah, so
Yeah.
we're going to get a little OSHA friendly here, and we're going to talk about a couple different things. But we're going to scare you. We're going to do the blood on the highway thing, and that's a very dated reference. Not all a child of the '90s will know that reference. Blood on the highway was like
Was it
when
a
you were
safety
getting ready to
driving
start.
course?
Yeah, when you were getting ready to
License.
learn how to drive, they showed you this like
They show
all
you
the
the
destruction and
graphic.
death that you could do now that you have this vehicle that can go out and kill people. Blood on the highway, and yeah, it's hilarious, but hilarious in reference. But the reality is, yeah,
It's true.
vehicles and everything that we do as working on cars and being behind these vehicles can be a little dangerous. So we wanted to kind of talk a little bit that. Mike, you
Yeah.
obviously have some kind of a horror story because you thought of this whole topic.
I do.
Drop your worst on these folks and send them crying. Go ahead,
Now,
let's do it.
again, this was maybe. How do I begin? Okay, so this one that I
These were
think of is actually
it was the best of times. What do you want to do here?
right, right,
How
right.
do you want to start off your story? And that's how I and that's
I'll
what
start
I
off by
live.
saying everything was okay in the end. How about that? Let's just say that. but there was
You can't go happy end and sell dark. Come on.
no. It was one of
You
those
don't see
things
Stephen
where
King telling you the end before you get to the end. Come
we're
on, let's
gonna
go.
we're gonna Tarantino it or whatever backwards
All
or
right, we're
whatever.
gonna do it
Okay,
backwards. Yeah, go ahead. All right, hit me.
okay. So my issue was I have
Yes.
this Datsun 620, and I it's carbureted. Obviously, it's a 1979 with the L20 engine. It's been a while since I started it up, and I was telling myself, well, I need to crank this engine over. Let's keep things flowing, even though I don't drive it every day. And at that point, it had been like a month. I was like, I need to get this thing going. Well, with the car that's been sitting for that long, again, we were talking about gas. It just trying to get that carburetor flowing in general. One of
Uh-huh.
the things that you can do is you use starter fluid, especially in carbureted engines. You spray some starter fluid in the carburetor, you get the thing going. I was lazy and I told myself, "Oh, I'm not going to remove the filter element. I'm just going to spray through it." Cuz it's only a spray. It's only one spray of starter fluid to get this carburetor kind of fired up.
Go on.
And so
Fireball.
actually I was with Ion. Ion was with me. So he sprays, I'm cranking the car up. The
So it's
car's
Ion's fault, really.
no, it was at my instruction, I guess you could say that I told him to. Anyway, what again? Word to the wise: do not spray starter fluid on a cotton filter element, any element whatsoever. Take the filter off because as we were cranking this thing over, the engine backfires. A spark through the carburetor catches the air filter on fire. Now, this is not a clean engine. It's got some miles on it. It's a little greasy, and so anyway, the entire
Some
filter
secondary
element.
fuel soakage. Got it.
Yes,
Go
the
on.
entire filter element caught fire. It was it was at night too, so you could see the flames. Oh shit! Oh, damn! There goes our rating. God
There goes
dang!
our rating. All the
There
kids got to
goes.
drop off now.
Yeah, yeah. They're getting in
All
trouble
right.
by the
So what
parents.
happened?
So luckily for me, I had a fire hose, water garden hose, very very close near me. This fire may have lasted. I reacted very very fast in flip flops, mind you. I'm running around in slippery grass and flip
Why are you
flops.
hanging out with Ion with the flip
I
flops?
know I had to fit in with
You
Ion. That was the
guys, you
thing. It's a
never wear
club.
damn shoes when we're working on car. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'll explain to the chat and everybody listening here in just a few minutes.
yeah,
Please continue with your
yeah,
story of nonsense safety
yeah.
standards. Go ahead.
As it was though, I ran, turned on the water, gave the carburetor a
A
splash of water. It
spritz.
a spritz of water. It took care of the situation. However, again,
Did you
once
soak in water
once
in the
this
engine while you're at it?
well, that remains to be seen. I haven't started it
Water
since, so
doesn't
that's the
compress,
thing.
so
I
that's
know.
a
No,
whole
no,
other
it didn't
issue.
run. The car at that point, the engine was turned off. I turned the engine off. The fire's still there. Whoops! And I run over there, spray the top of the engine. Now, once the smoke cleared, I didn't see any damage per se. The cool thing about these old school engines, of course, there's not like there's not even a wiring harness that runs this thing. So there was no electrical wire that was burnt. Um, I think the worst case is I need to go ahead and replace the carburetor, which it needed anyway. That's probably why it wouldn't start in the first place. And probably just do a refresh on the fuel system in general, though. It could have been worse. I'm just saying it could have been worse, but that was the fire is never good, and
Yeah,
that was
fire
the only
sucks.
that was the only time that I've really encountered fire with my vehicle. So that was my horror story.
So besides you burning our friend alive, Ion, and giving him no eyebrows for a season, so he looks surprised. So, I will say this first off, and I'm gonna point something out. I love you to death, but can I
Okay,
just say that you were actually OSHA certified?
now I
Uh,
am. Now I mean, not then, but yes.
so now you know what's right and wrong. Now I know the difference between right and wrong. But
Well,
yes, for
yeah,
those lesson learned, understand when you're spraying starting fluid and fuel, and there's air that's kind of pumping through, and it's open
a
air that can
spark.
backbore, that can
Yes.
reverse back pressure. Potentially, you're always going to have a concern before you start doing stuff with starting fluid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I personally like to always have a damp like towelette, like a
Okay.
towel,
Okay.
and it's just it. I've wringed it out. It's been kind of drying and setting there. So when stuff comes through, I set it on top and I smother. You kill air,
Yeah.
you kill fire, and that's the way it
Yes.
is. You don't want to start going and dumping sand, dumping water, but just as a trick, if you're going to be if you know you're going to be screwing around with a lot of starting issues, you know you're going to try to get stuff maybe dialed in with the carb, just letting you
Yeah.
know a nice towel actually works really well for those type
Yeah.
of scenarios. Let you
I
know. So,
yeah. I again just take off the air filter element for God's
or
sakes.
you could take off the air filament so you don't
No, no,
saturate
no.
it
You need to
full
do
of
both. You have
and
the
make
damp
and
rag,
have
but
briquettes, if you will, for the
yeah.
fire to kind of move on to. So yeah, but
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
So that's
just something to
mine.
kind of think about. So that was your horror story. That's
That
the
was
worst you've done.
dude,
I feel like you've
fire.
done dumber stuff, but I'm
No,
gonna
I've
let you
done dumber stuff.
pass.
I've had an injury my ankle with it was a jack stand. I was lowering a subframe
Was
on
it a
a
Harbor Freight jack stand?
no, no, it wasn't even the jack stand that was the issue, but I was lowering a rear subframe on a 300ZX
Okay. Ooh, heavy.
and
Go ahead.
something was caught, and so I decided, oh, I'm gonna kick the jack stand, the footing of the jack stand, not stand,
I'm
the
gonna kick
jack.
it, and then the whole assembly is gonna come down on my
Yeah,
little getaway sticks, and then
yeah. So I did kind of crush my ankle, but 3 days later I was fine. It still clicks every once in a while, but I mean I'm good. But
nah.
yeah,
All right. So Tiny Tim finished up his story, and let's move on to the next thing.
okay.
Tiny Tim was a joke. I don't know if you got the reference. Hit a limp. All right, moving along.
Sorry.
So my horror story. This was one of those situations where and this is Z32 specific, but it kind of can run through a couple different engines. So a hot trend for a while, and this is still kind of going on, is where people basically run open timing gears
Oh.
um, for a lot of stuff. Like so, the VG runs on a belt driven system. So a lot of people want to show it off when they get fancy belts, like a blue one or a red one. Those were hot for a minute, and so people would run these like open belt systems. And I was never a huge fan of that, unless somebody asked me to do it, like helping them out with their engine. I would do it, but I just never really liked it because it. I mean, it was something that was moving so fast. Those gears are just like feed me, feed me, feed me. I'm gonna destroy your digits. And I was working with somebody, and we were trying to dial in a timing on a VG30 DETT, a twin turbo 300DX engine. And somebody basically, it's a low car. You're not really thinking about it. You have to put your hand kind of somewhere so you can reach into something, get your timing marks, kind of dig down in there. And what happened next is this guy basically had his hand on the valve cover, and then he reached over, and it was just enough for his thumb to kind of go into the timing gear, and it got
Oh.
munched in between everything. And
No.
luckily it didn't sever anything, but it it broke the thumb, but it didn't break it in just one spot. It broke it in like 9 different pieces. And apparently, like they had to kind of go in and do all these crazy surgeries on just the guy's thumb. It could have been a lot worse. Could have been multiple digits, but
Yes.
that is probably one of the roughest horror stories I've ever seen. Serpentine belts are bad enough to where they can catch something like your hair or your shirt and rip that stuff off.
Yep.
You and I have seen some crazy stories where people like get anything that's moving. You don't want to have lingering stuff kind of out there. You don't want to have hair and ponytails. You don't want to have, long t-shirts and stuff like that. It's going to take that stuff right off. And, but in this particular case, it destroyed this young man's thumb. And
Man.
to this day, it's like kind of sideways and everything else on him. But my suggestion is again for timing belts, don't run open cover. If
Yeah.
you can, buy the clear stuff if it's available for you. If you want the Gucci aspect of it, just do the viewing hole. But you definitely want those things closed for safety aspects, and you don't also want to get rocks and stuff. And that I can go on and nerd out about this for a while, but again, if it's moving and it's moving at a high quick pace, don't put anything that you want protected in there. Don't stick your hands in there unless you need a day off. So that's all I'm going to say. But
Good one.
yeah,
Good one. I have never been a fan of keeping timing gear, not only from a safety perspective, but the safety of the engines. For God's sakes, it's just like people who don't run an air filter or who run some sort of minimal, you know, performance part that just leads to increased vulnerability to damaging an engine.
and also being an insurance adjuster, I see all kinds of crazy stuff where you get like critters that are without people don't have splash shields and they get critters, and I've seen a tire tread make its way up into an engine bay because there's no splash shield, and it went
Yeah.
in there and it got caught up in the serpentine belt and it caused all kinds of havoc and destruction. So again, covers, splash shields, timing covers. I know it sounds silly, anything that's moving at a high rate of pace, think about that. Same thing for drive shafts. I've seen drive shafts where they're pole vaulting, or they rip up floor pans and destroy that kind of stuff. I mean, you don't want to miss your legs because you're running a one piece drive shaft where you had a two piece and you're not running a safety loop. Think about that kind of stuff. So just something to kind of think about for the future. Again, we tell you this stuff because we love you guys. We want to make sure that you're working on your car safe and being out there, being safe while you're
Yes.
out there. A
I
couple people
agree.
did comment on here. Ion said, like long hair near dinos. It is true. We're not going to talk too much about it, but there is a pretty epic story where someone did have long hair near a dino, and unfortunately, that dino wheel did
No,
grab
yeah.
grab their
It
hair or
it
something to
was
that
it was an
effect.
intake, a motor that blows air into the radiator. Because of course the car is stationary. You want
Again,
wind
a
blown.
lot of
Not good.
moving parts
Rotating
out there.
machinery.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
not
so
fun.
be safe out there.
Careful,
Yeah,
careful.
also your environment, something else to kind of think about. Harold Wickman had a ponytail, rolled over it with a creeper, wrapped
Yes,
it
I
in the.
was. Yeah.
This is actually Mike. We were talking about this last night.
Yes, you
Wrapped
were.
in the caster, a garage haircut with with a pair of lineman pliers while laying prone under a Z32. Why is it always gonna be a Z32 that's killing people? It
is that
literally is going to be the
is
car that
that
kills you.
now we know Harold? I'm gonna mess with you, man. Is that why
Let's
you're a
call it
little
what it is.
little?
Harold hasn't had a ponytail since Hulk Hogan was wrestling. All right, let's just call it what it is. I'm just kidding, Harold. We know you had a
Just messing with
ponytail.
you, buddy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love Harold, and
I'm on
yes,
my way.
but he's
Yeah, yeah.
100% accurate. You creeper. And there's nothing wrong with long hair. You can have it. Obviously, I love my long hair up until recently, but a cap, hey man, it goes a long way. Vision, and we're going to talk a little bit about things that we have around our
Yeah,
own personal
yeah.
garages that keep people safe, and stuff that as we move into this. Edgar Furman said, I know a guy who got a
I know a
piece of
guy.
his thumb. I know a guy, legend has it, but I know a guy who's got a piece of his thumb pinched off setting the timing of his belt on a VG.
Again with the 300ZX. What is going on with the
It's the
300?
killer of dreams. That's it. He goes, there's, it's crazy. Years from now, we're all going to be at like a Z convention and be like, yeah. He goes, yeah, I have a VG. Just, just,
It's just
just all these
like
dudes missing digits and fingers.
they were
Uh,
throwing gang signs. No,
yeah,
it's VG
no.
life.
This is
No,
this is
no.
how it is. This is
Yeah.
this is how I hail a cab these days. So, yes, but very much true. Safety is a big deal.
Yeah.
So we talk going into that, we wanted to talk about like things that me and Mike are actually big OSHA people at our jobs that we do, and we always kind of talk about the dangers and kind of what we use in our garages. And
Yeah.
as we share garages, he goes to mine, I go to his. We talk about things that we've learned over the years that really have kind of saved us, and especially as I get up in years, I don't really screw around with stuff anymore in this aspect. But and
The
then
older
other
you
stuff
get, man, the
too is
more,
like
yeah.
the other two, some of it's for safety, some of it's for comfort, but
Yeah.
these are just some of the things that you might want to put on your list as we move into Black Friday, because we're going to be talking into Black Friday deals here in just a few
Yes.
moments, as we continue on with the night. So maybe
Yeah.
as you're sitting at home in your garage drinking, like, hey, maybe I want to add that to my Amazon Prime Black
Amazon.
Friday or whatever it is.
There
But
you
these
go.
are some of the things that I have to have in my garage. And me and Mike talk about
Yes.
fire extinguisher. Believe it or not, they're cheap. They're about 20 bucks. And I'll tell you
Go ahead.
what, it'll save your tail, especially if you've got family or anybody else in the car. Fires
Yeah.
get out of control really quick. You don't think about it, and you really don't think about how much stuff that you have, which is flammable and can go
Yeah.
up pretty quick.
I
Houses, I mean, are pretty much can be tinder boxes depending on what you got around you. Think
yeah.
about that. Fire extinguishers are always nice to have on the wall just to pop out. I have
Yes.
one at each entrance so I can get in and out of. I have one in my garage entrance, and then I have one on exit door on the side, so I
Yeah.
can get in and out. Worst case of
Yeah.
my house, just something to
I
kind of think about.
Yeah, I was looking through this as well. Like you said, they are very, very affordable, between 20 and 30 bucks, depending
It
on
ain't
what
worth your life,
size.
guys. It's not worth your
It's
life. Get out there and
yes,
get them. Those are great. Smoke detectors,
yeah,
yeah, if you want to, but these are the things that help you get safe
yeah,
passage out of the house, out of the garage, out of
yeah.
the unit.
A lot of these fire extinguishers, by the way, you can find. And the way I searched for this is just a typical Google search, though. But you can literally type in like automotive grade, essentially automotive use
Mhm.
fire extinguisher. There is not an official grade specific for automotive, but from what I'm looking here is that a Class C fire extinguisher is probably the most applicable to an automotive application. Just a heads up. So if you're looking for any type of them and they don't say automotive, look for a Class C. Uh, go ahead, Mouse.
No, no, it's great. That's exactly what it is. I mean, you can find that stuff cheap. Wheel chocks, believe it or not. I've had vehicles kind of roll out, or we're
So
testing vehicles like while they're driving, and standard automatic something goes into gear and then it's driving through a wall. It's a rarity, but it has happened. Also, I don't like vehicles that roll. You go to work on people's houses and stuff's at an incline or stuff. Wheel chocks, they're cheap. They're about $5 a pop.
they
I
go
really like the
overlooked.
I really like the big fat boy ones
Yeah.
that you can get at like Harbor Freight. They're like six
You know, that's
dollars, I think.
that's something that I would have no problem buying. It's a piece of rubber. It's a big
Yeah.
piece of rubber. You can't go wrong.
There ain't nothing wrong
It's
with
worth
it.
it.
I
Yeah.
love wheel chocks, and then I like to hook them up, one on each one, and then I hook them to. I kind of do this like military thing where I hook them to a string, so I
Mm.
can grab both at the same time, and I just pull them out. They
Oh,
do that on like military aircraft, so you can kind of
military.
pull the
Yeah.
chucks out. But again, wheel
I,
chucks, they're cheap, they're great to
I
have. My 2 cents.
I'm gonna say, and oftentimes when you're using a wheel chock, it's typically where you're using an engine stand. And I do want to say
I
that
use them
if
on
you
sick.
want to go, go get as robust as you can, the size and the strength of an engine. Sorry, uh, car
Hoist.
stand,
Yeah.
jack stand,
You know,
because yes,
yeah, I've used chucks on stands. I've used them like if I'm pulling on an incline, which is super sketchy with like an engine hoist. I mean, I've pulled engines that are like cars like here, engine hoist is like it's bad. I shouldn't be
yeah,
doing that. But guess what? This is all we have, and that's what we're gonna do. So wheel chucks have saved my ass more than once, so I highly recommend those. Again, if you can do all your fun stuff on level ground when at all possible. And that's just my 2 cents. My
yeah,
now
yeah,
safety glasses. I highly recommend safety glasses when you're cutting and chopping, grinding away.
yeah,
I believe it or not, I like the face shields. Now that I've gotten older, I've actually had a piece of metal in my eye, and I
yeah,
don't want to tell you what it's like to get a piece of metal grinded out of your eye.
yeah,
It sucks. It's like you're underneath the table and you see somebody like drilling into this like table that you're underneath, and they have to just drill it, and that's it. It sucked. It was one of the most painful things I've ever had to do in concern to my eye, and it got infected. It was crappy. So again, goggles, 3.99,
With
Harbor Freight or wherever, it's going to save your ass.
we're giving you
I
pearls here.
We're
Yeah,
giving
this is
you pearls
wisdom.
of
This is
wisdom.
yeah.
But I will say that a little thing that people don't realize when they're grinding stuff out or chopping stuff is hot metal. It goes in, believe it or not, it goes into your flesh. And then you'll have these like little black spots on your skin. Believe it or not, that's actually hot metal that's burnt into your skin that's now rusting, if you will. Face shields, they're super cheap too as well, about six
Yeah,
bucks
yep,
for the crap stuff. If you want the full face, just get the flip down, almost like a little. a welding sheet. But if you're going to
Yeah.
be grinding some hardcore stuff, you know you're going to be out there for more than 3, 4, 5 minutes, or that angle grinder that you think is cool to not run without the shield on it, or you can't. Yo,
Yep.
face shield ain't that big deal. Wear the long sleeve stuff. I know it sounds dumb,
Yeah.
but everybody has a long sleeve shirt that they don't want to wear from that company picnic that you just don't want to rock. Guess what? That now becomes your garage stuff. Get yourself some coveralls. You can find them at Goodwill for like $4 or $5.
Yeah.
Dude, hunt like you're a car guy or a car gal out there. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
On that with
Yeah.
face masks with filters. I grind stuff, I paint stuff nowadays, and HEPA filters,
Yeah.
believe it or not, are going to save your lungs more than anything else. I've grinded out so much stuff, and if I could go back and yell at my younger self when I was painting stuff, especially when I was painting like anything that I would mix, urethanes, anything where I was laying down clear or I was laying just shooting engine bays where it was like a single stage even. That's still chemicals that are in the air that I inhaled because I just used the little COVID paper mask because I thought, oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna get off. But guess what? The reality is I should have been rocking the HEPA filter at a minimum. If not, get either the hardcore stuff. But those are really cheap. I see
Yeah.
them. They're on Amazon this week, and I'm pretty sure Amazon or Siri is listening to me because it keeps telling me that I need to buy these for $23 on Amazon this week because they're a lightning deal. So again,
Yeah. Yeah.
get on
Yeah.
there. That's something else. If
Yeah.
you're going to be stepping into your next level, and make sure you got your garage spaces aerated. Again,
Yeah.
do that stuff on your own if you can. Save
Absolutely.
yourself the money.
I'll go to this next
Hearing
one.
here,
Next.
the next one is all you because you're the deafest person that I
Well,
know.
and the cool part about it is that I'm not doing it to protect my hearing. I'm trying to salvage what's left.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I wear them. But yes, hearing protection is a critical one, especially if you're around something. I believe a certain decibel point. You know, let's just say it. You know when loud is loud. Let's just say it. If it's loud, you get they have the earmuffs, kind of what I'm wearing right now. The reason why I'm wearing this style of headset is because my hearing is screwed from years and years of garage time without the right hearing protection. So hearing is a big one. You know when you need them. Let's just be honest, and it's cheap. Again,
Yeah.
Harbor Freight has some of the.
And the
It's
rule is anything over a lawnmower,
yeah,
get yourself some headphones. They're
yeah,
cheap. Again, Harbor Freight
yeah.
sells some garbage ones that still do the job. Plugs, even if you want
And
to go that route, you know.
and that's the cool part too about especially with like safety glasses and not only and hearing protection is that not only are they cheap but it enables you to just buy multiples to just buy a
Just
bunch of
throw them away.
five just
Yeah.
throw them in a box and so
And
whenever you need them
protect your buddies. If they come over to the
brand new
garage, I have like 5 pairs of glasses on the
yes
wall. Why do I want my buddies to get something caught in their eye while they're partying at my house when
yeah
they should be
you're
over working on cars, helping me out? I should be protecting them too as well.
yeah
Glasses, buy yourself 4 or 5. Ear protection, you can buy the little plugs if you're balling on a budget. But
yeah
if you want to get the good stuff, just buy the
those
$5 whatever covers,
yeah
and then from there, excel your safety standards as you get older and more adult, and then
yeah
kind of go from there. So
I've got a picture for this next one too, Miles. I may have showed you this yesterday, and I'm going to call somebody out here. Now, this is not surprisingly not Ion, but this is an Ion.
I
I'm
see
talking
a
to
I
you as
see a
well.
welder.
Yeah. Okay.
I see an
Uh,
exhaust that looks like it's going to be
okay.
welded and grinded prepped, and then I
S-
see somebody in flip flops.
yes, this is my brother who helped me out. I love him to death. I had a Y pipe where I needed to do some welding, and so we were doing the welding work, no problem. Got the welding dude, but of course, just I give him so. I mean, I at the same time I'm thanking him for his
F,
resources and his
yeah,
skill set, but I'm like, dude, wear some wear some closed-toed shoes. At least they don't have to be steel toes, although steel toes would be optimal no matter where you're at in an automotive setting. But just closed-toed shoes, especially when you got again how you said the sparks that come off, they will embed themselves in skin and be harmful.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
hot
so
metal. It's
yeah,
gonna go right through your soft little buttermilk skin, guys out there. Guess what? That stuff's going in your skin. That's staying with you until the end. So
yeah,
yeah, you don't want to be old and like stuck with metal in it because guess what? It starts to rot out, and then you got these like spots in your skin and your arms. That's all metal rusting out, Holmes. So guess what? Protect yourselves, man. We ain't telling you this stuff because We like to tell you it, and we're just trying to protect you. Again, we're giving thanks, we're giving kudos back. Yes, sandals. Wear proper footwear. Invest in, I don't know, the Van slip-ons. Ion, I'm looking at you, Captain Flip Flops. I don't think I've ever seen that man in a real pair of shoes. But guess what? He
It
doesn't
was
like his
on.
toes.
I think it was only like a wedding or a funeral that I saw him in not flip flops.
It's
It's one
true.
of the
He
two.
wore, yeah, I saw him in shoes at my wedding, and that was it. So it's the last time I saw that dude in shoes,
And
and
you
it's
should have saw
like,
the look on
but
his face. He was not happy.
he was not happy. So,
Yeah.
all right, moving
Now
along here.
I do want to say
We're
one
about
thing here
halfway through
too.
this. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. This is the last one, honestly, for this segment. But this was a motto that I had used in a former position I was at a former company, and the motto was the right tool for the right job. You know when you, again, it's one of these common sense things is that you know when you don't have the right tool when you're trying to do something, and that can backfire
When
and
you're
it can
trying to
lead to
break a pivot
injuries.
ball with I don't know, like a pry bar and a hammer and a torch, and not wearing any glasses, you're laying underneath that sucker. It's probably
Oh, yeah.
2 in the morning, little to no light.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's a recipe for
Well, that's
disaster.
like when you need a hammer and then you end up using like a crescent wrench instead for a hammer. Like,
Yeah,
don't
that's
do
good.
that. That's what I mean. The
Yeah,
right
that's
tool
a
for the
good
right job.
stabbing option right there. Yeah.
Something like that. Yes,
No.
yes, yes,
Anyway, but think
yes.
about it like that. I mean, from my years of turning wrenches and stabbing myself, burning myself,
Yeah,
impaling myself on whatever I'm going to be, just it's a very working on cars is a very dangerous thing from time to time. But if you take those little corners, believe it or not, it's going to save you again. Um, and on that note, that's pretty much everything we're going to talk about in regards to safety. Um, you know, uh, I think that's pretty much it. When it comes to safety stuff and horror stories that
yes.
Mike wanted to bring out, that
This
was
is
like a
our
little
public service
that
announcement.
was a little pre-filler for Black Friday. That gives you an opportunity. Hey, what do you need? Do you necessarily need to buy that particular thing? Maybe you should throw a few bucks towards safety. Maybe,
Yeah,
hey, I'm going to spend $20 this paycheck on safety stuff, and like slowly building up your safety stuff is
yeah,
just as important as building up your tools or building up your parts list. So
yeah,
just kind of something to kind of keep out there. Now
yeah.
we're going to talk about the
Yes.
fun stuff.
The traditional. Again, I was thinking about this. What is a good old American tradition these days? That's
Fighting people
Thanksgiving.
to death at a retail store for an object you want that they
Ding
want
ding
to
ding
as
ding
well.
ding 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 ding. Yeah, it's all about
Commercialism.
consumerism, buying stuff, buying stuff.
Yes.
Oh man, beating people up to buy stuff first. Yes.
Don't you gotta love that? The beautiful thing about car guys is we can step away from that and just say, I'm not gonna kill somebody else for the turbo system that I want. Guess what? I'm gonna be a connoisseur. I'm gonna order it online. So, on that note, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the Black Friday deals that have kind of come across our desk over the last few days, and some sponsors and friends of the show that we want to kind of give a little shout out to that are having some amazing deals this week. We figured we would let you know. So, for everybody out there that is looking to spend some dollars,
Yep.
now's the time to write down because we're going to let you know about some deals that are kind of coming your way for the Black Fridays.
Yes.
First on the list, Z1 Motorsports. Those guys have obviously been the titan of industry, if you will, for the Nissan world. Mike,
Uh,
you've got this one. Go ahead.
I do. I got this as an email, and I want to share this with you guys here so that Z1motorsports.com, and you can also go to Z1 Off Road if you are a owner of a Frontier,
Z,
Titan,
yeah,
etc., etc.
Frontier,
They,
Titan, all that
their
stuff.
Black Fridays have been known to be epic for nearly I want to say over a decade at this point. I do know that the team at Z1, after they're done eating turkey with the family, they're spending a uh, part of Thursday night and or definitely all of Friday in the warehouse fulfilling orders as a team. It is kind of like order fulfillment on steroids. Their whole goal is to get you this order to your front door as soon as possible, especially for Black Friday. So they are promoting a bunch of items that are on special. I can't get into all of them specifically, but I can tell you a few things. The first one is that site wide with the code Lucky7, 7% off anything that's currently online. That's always a perk. They recently also lowered their prices on some OEM parts. A lot of OEM parts, their entire OEM catalog has been lowered in general. So on top of that happening just recently, you're getting an extra 7% off site wide with the code Lucky7. Now they are saying here up to 50% off items on special. You can see here, of course, clutch kits 175 off, 20% off catch can systems, 33% off shift knobs. You've got spacers 20% off. Let's see what the biggest one is here. I see 250, 200, 275. Let's go with this one. $200 off Z1 differential upgrades, and I saw $250 off select Z1 exhaust kits and Y pipes. So that is huge. That's good numbers. This is easily their biggest sale of the year. Let's just call it that. So if you are looking for anything from a 1990 to current Z car, this also includes the Infinity, G35, G37, and Q cars, Z1 Motorsports, and then also Z1 Off Road has their specials.
Yep. Now, next on the list, and Mike, you could bring up the page, Soho Motorsports, which we've talked about once or twice. They actually have a up to 10% sale available. They carry quite a bit in regards to, I think, exhaust systems, turbo kits, for
Turbo
the
kits
most
for
part,
sure.
and some
Yeah.
additional accessories. But you can check them out. They actually have a code this week for SMF 10 is
Yep.
their code to save up to 10% during the Black Friday opportunity. So just
By the
something to
way,
check
just to
out.
let you know, Soho Motorsports just released, just today, they released their single turbo kit for the 350Z with the DE engine. I don't believe this is their version 2, I
For the
think.
VQ,
New product offering, yes, coming out. That just came out today, so I believe uh,
for the
this may be
VQA.
part of the promotions that they're having.
Oh,
What do you
nice.
say?
Good job. For the VQA.
Vicqua? Yeah.
All right. Now, our good friends over at Skillard are also offering some hefty discounts. We love those guys. They come up with some pretty innovative products. They're actually offering a 15% savings through their page for Black Friday. You can check out their code Holiday 15. That reminds me, I got to buy some stuff from those guys. Those guys are just dominating. And if you were a 280ZX guy, you have no excuse not to go to that page if you're into that. If you're not if you're an OEM guy, great, get it. But if you're trying to mod your stuff,
Yeah.
go buy Skillard and go check it out because they're having some great deals this week for some really cool new innovative product that just came out.
I'm gonna say this, and let me know if you agree or disagree on this, Miles. Skillard is making the 280ZX popular again.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, where we said, it's making you're making the 280ZX cool again. As far
uh,
as in, I don't know, I shouldn't say cool again because some
Not
people are
even
like it was always cool,
no.
but
Well, I remember reading articles saying that the car
I
was
would
dated
say
once it left the factory too.
bring.
Go ahead.
I would say you're reinvigorating the opportunity for modification on the 280ZX. That's how I'm going to
Yes,
sell that. So. But
exactly.
yes, honestly, I've seen some of the stuff that Skillard's done with the 280ZX, and I'm like, maybe I'm right on my part with the 280ZX. But yeah,
Yeah,
they definitely
yeah,
are doing some cool stuff. So some keep on the lookout. Again,
yeah.
50% savings, holiday 15 through Skillard right now.
I want to do this next one, Miles. This one I think is it's a very generous promotion that this next company has, and I'm talking about SPL
Oh,
parts, of course, suspension
amazing.
parts. Now, if you read here, of course, online, it says Black Friday, 20% off all SPL parts. This discount is applied automatically in the cart. And when
Nice.
you look at, first of all, we know that SPL parts, their catalog in general it's the top of the line. If you're looking for the
It's the best
choice parts,
suspension that you can possibly buy is through SPL.
yes,
Like if you're truly looking for the hardcore stuff, it doesn't get any better than SPL. I
yeah,
This is pretty much all I run. There's nothing against anybody else's stuff that's out there, but I can tell you right now, when you have a company that makes version 1 and then they come out with another version too, and they say, hey, you know what, we came out with a new version, we're going to buy back your old stuff. Who the hell does that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there's,
Yeah.
you know, that tells you that level of where they operate and excellence.
Yeah.
So me personally, this is pretty much all I purchase for
Yeah.
my own personal cars when it's not like a street car and I
Yeah.
want to take that vehicle to the next level, or I really want to kind of get the best option that's out there.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I'm kind of a fanboy. I'm a little biased. I do buy a lot of SPL stuff, and
Yeah.
I have to say it's one of the best companies out there for suspension. Nothing against anybody else that's out there.
Yeah.
I highly recommend the SPL stuff because I've never had a problem
Yeah.
with it. And
Yeah.
calling into their customer service lines and
Yeah.
calling in with a problem, they
Yeah.
are some of the best um, tech guys to give me
Yeah.
feedback on some of their
Yeah.
products that are in the business.
I want to give you an example though, 2 miles though. Again, they're saying this is site wide 20% off.
Mhm.
It seems to be. I don't see any exclusions in this, so it can be anything. And just to run a little example here, I did this earlier. To give you an example, this certain component, it's not a Z part, but however, let's just go pretend it is. Essentially, $2,100 for this particular part.
Mhm.
When you click on it, add to cart. I'm going to add it to cart here, and I go to that cart. Let's see here. I've got to take out something here. Oh man, I got
Yeah, go ahead and
the.
put your account information in there for everybody
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see.
Well, right. What my credit card information and
What's the
everything.
worst that could happen? You know, like
Here,
no
here it is. Check it
safety
out.
statements.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh god.
Are you balling out of
Now,
control? Buy one for me too, homie. You could
well,
buy
now I can't.
9.
Well, I'm
You
trying
were
to.
just flipping all over the place. You're like an old person, just
I
first
feel
time on the
bad.
internet.
I'm trying to remove a part. But anyway, either way, if you look at it here, $2,100 essentially was the item price automatically taken down to
That's
$1,600
a
and
pretty
eighty.
hefty
That's nearly
chunk.
$400. That's a lot of money. That
I
is
got to tell you,
that
I
they're
already bought
taking
tension rods
off.
this morning. Like as soon as
Did
I
you?
got the email this morning, I already bought tension rods
Yeah.
for a car that I needed. So yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I
Very
wait for
admirable
Black
deal. Yeah.
Friday with
Hold
the
on.
SPL stuff
Yeah.
because I literally budget like the last 3 months before Black Friday comes up because I already know what I'm going to buy. But again, take advantage of the deals. Not to mention the tech guys and the opportunities to just get the best stuff that you can out there. So again, I
Yeah.
highly recommend the SPL stuff if you get an opportunity to check them out. Good discounts this week. And like I said, they're manning the phones,
Yeah.
they're manning the website. So if you need something and you have questions, hit them up. So
For sure, for sure. The last 2 miles, I'll talk about this one, I guess, here. First one is Apex Engineered. Now, they do some other suspension work, more or less of a resto mod type of work, fabrication in
those
general,
guys are
though, but
going, they're just swinging for the fences.
they're
They're doing some
growing.
pretty cool stuff as of late.
Yes.
And
And a
it's all
lot of
made
their,
in house. It's all great stuff. If you
yes,
look at their Instagram pages, they're always welding, they're always powder coating stuff in house. And it's pretty innovative stuff. Like
yeah,
they're putting in a lot of um, uh, geometrical thought process or suspension thought process in the
yeah,
products that they're putting out.
yeah,
I love some of their bracing that they've put out as of late.
yeah.
Like cool cross members that just reinvent the suspension opportunities for that vehicle. So
Yeah.
I'll let you continue. My apologies.
For sure. It seems like a lot of their specialty is the older Datsuns. You might say
Oh yeah.
first gen or second gen Datsun Z cars. But if you are interested in some, you might say retro mod style parts for your first or second generation Z car, go to Apex Engineered. Apex Rocks is the code at checkout. It is a
For
Black Friday
Black Friday.
special.
Yeah.
It does not say specifically what the discount is, but there is one. I can say that much. By the way, we gotta say this, Miles. We say this as automotive fans. We are not paid to say this. This is not.
Nah,
These are
nah,
just
and
people
we
that are on
don't
our
really
radar.
officially have any sponsors or anything. We just promote these folks because we've had their stuff. We've never either we've broken it and they've told us and they've sent
Yeah,
us an opportunity to fix it, or they've innovated their products, or we've installed it for somebody else and been like, okay, nice. You know, I
yeah,
like the way it came. I came with instructions, or it just individually was bagged. It came with professionality, and
yeah,
that's usually when we say it. If you reach out to us too, if you have an up and coming business
yeah,
and you want to kind of talk about our products, let us know. If it cuts our if it meets our standards, we'll definitely kind of talk about it, and we'll add you to it. Again, there is no financial gain for us whatsoever, other than T-shirts from time to time. But we don't really gain anything off of this stuff.
Yeah,
We just want to try to put the best product out there for the community. Plus, if it's also a community based um, business, we promote that. We're
right.
very big
Yeah,
into that. If these folks came out of the forums, or they came out of the groups that are solely supporting the Nissan community, guess what?
yeah, yeah,
We're here for you. That's exactly what this platform is here for. But again, Apex Engineering, I've been nothing but impressed with a lot of their stuff.
yeah. Hmm.
Apex rocks for their Black Friday code.
Yeah,
I'm really liking a lot of their Z31 stuff, and their 280ZX stuff, especially their differential mounts that they've been
yeah.
pumping out as of late. I
Mm,
really like that stuff. It's pretty
yeah.
cool.
I got one more for you, Miles. I forgot to share it with you. I just got it as an email just today. We're talking about Z-Spec Design. Of course, their
Nice.
specialty is in the engine fasteners, engine dress-up kits. They're saying here that they're black
Man, T-top, the T-top plastic. Some of the
plastics.
the
Yeah,
Z32 center din. I have that. I just got
restorations
it. It's
and
actually somewhere around her. And
yeah,
I'll tell you what. I bought a cheapy one off of eBay before I bought the Z-Spec one, and I
yeah,
went to install it. Night and day difference. The amount of detail work that Z-Spec puts into like the fit on some of their stuff
yeah.
is up there. I mean, some of the fasteners, if that's your cup of tea, great. But some of the detail work on some of the interior stuff is really top notch. I highly recommend that stuff. So
I should mention that you're absolutely right, though. I initially was thinking fasteners, but it couldn't. They're getting into the restoration business in a lot of these older cars. How you said, and retrofitting a tasteful retrofit. How you said these bezels.
that's exactly what I
You're
was gonna
taking
say. It's like,
new head units and whatnot. This good quality parts here. So
yeah, I mean,
you can
look at
go to
that right now. All the knobs and the plastic stuff. They're all the stuff that breaks
yes,
on you, and your brakes in your hand while you're driving your car. You're like, God damn it! They're starting
yes,
to do that for you. Just like that. Case in
yep,
point. So again, Chris Carr, who actually owns the site, he's a car guy. He knows what's up, and they've been doing some really really tasteful stuff as of late. So again, I highly recommend checking out the site. They're offering a pretty fat discount right now. So if you
yeah.
want to go check that out. So
40% off again. That's
yeah, and their
zspecdesign.com
stuff's
for that
always
one
cost
again.
effective. It's not really ever really overly expensive. I always thought it's very cost effective. Harold chimed in here. He said, "Hey, by the way, ZCCA merchandise at the store is 10% off this week."
Yeah,
Yeah, let us know if we need a code for that, or if we can just go through the
that's a
ZCA
that's a
website. I'm
nice
sure.
stocking stuffer, you might say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, for car nerds like ourselves, I mean, all I wear is Nissan. It's sad. Like, if any of you die, I'm gonna go to your funeral, and I'm just gonna be wearing Nissan stuff. I'm just gonna
I,
let you know that is how. If Mike dies, it's
yeah.
gonna be
No,
like all black Nissan hoodie,
yeah.
Nissan black
I,
hat.
I,
That's just it.
I,
That's it.
knowing you the way I know you, and this is a little bit morbid, but you were talking about funerals for a second, though. I know that if anything were to happen, and
Oh,
you might as well write this in your will that
a
you want
Nissan
every.
coffin.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I want all your friends and fellow enthusiasts to put stickers all over your
Oh, we're
coffin.
gonna we're gonna Fast and Furious your casket all the way until the.
Yeah,
That's it. That's
I'm
it, man.
talking everything, every sticker, and trust me, I've got a lot of them too. I'm just waiting. I'm not joking.
I'm
That's so
just waiting for
bad.
the.
I'm just
I'm
waiting.
waiting for
No,
Valhalla, car
yeah.
equivalent Valhalla. So, what is that?
But knowing you,
What
huh?
is that? The new Mad Max movie covered in chrome.
Oh
Ah!
yeah. No, that's one thing I always notice about every time I go in your garage. You've got bumper sticker. I can't even call them
Oh,
bumper stickers. There's
dude, I
stickers
got so much.
everywhere.
I am a huge fan of stickers. Like, I'm 5 years old.
Yeah.
Banners, Nissan dealership tin. If you have any of that stuff and you need to get rid of it, I'm buying. I'm always buying that stuff. I don't know why. It's just like an addiction. If you thought I was addicted to car parts, I'm addicted to like Nissan banner merch and tins and dealership books, all the bulletins and the book. I buy all that stuff, dude. I'm
Yeah.
a hardcore nerd. Anyway, VHS tapes of how to fix structural components of cars. I have all that stuff. I am such a
Wow.
dork. I don't know. It's a sickness. It is. But
Don't worry, VHS are coming back.
VHS, we're bringing it back.
We're bringing it back.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it has been a long episode. We're coming on 2 hours here.
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out and give thanks to everybody out there. Um, do you want to talk about this?
Oh,
Nah,
f- th-
save it.
you want to
Easter egg.
save it?
We'll leave it
Easter
as an
egg.
Easter egg.
Easter egg.
We'll leave it as
Easter
an
egg.
Easter egg for next time. For those that know what this
Yeah.
is and know the fame of this, put it in your hat. We're going to talk about it here soon. It might come up into something, might come into fruition for something else. We'll
We're
let you
working on
know,
it. Yeah.
but we're working
Yeah.
on it. So,
Yeah.
anyway, on that note, again, just wanted to give a shout out and a thanks to everybody for listening.
Yes.
We're coming up on 2 years.
No, no,
Um,
we're 3 years.
we're three
April
years
will be
now.
through.
Oh,
Will
my
be three
back.
years, dude.
Ugh.
Oh man.
But coming up on 3 years. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting us through this whole time period. We definitely cater to a niche environment
Yeah.
in a niche group. I just want to say thank you for everybody who's liking, following us, subscribing us,
Yeah.
spreading the good
And
word about the podcast. But again, for this podcast to evolve, we always need your input. If you have something out there that you think is important, a an important story, or there's an important person out there that we need to know about in the Nissan community, or even a vendor. If you're a vendor out there and you're just trying to scratch your teeth uh, in the market as a new vendor and you want to talk about your products, let us know. This is your sounding board. We want to be here for you. And again, we want to know about all the news that's out there because we want to try to be out there for everybody. We're all brothers and sisters in this, and again, I just want to give thanks to everybody out there for all the continued support, and Mike for continuing to put up with me
same.
for all these years as I've been trying to burn your toes off and catch your ponytail
Yeah.
and everything that's moving.
Again.
And
Again, yeah, I appreciate you, Miles. Of course, you're the big brother I never asked for, but it's been needed. Honestly,
yeah, oh,
you've helped me. You've helped me push. You've pushed me in good directions as a human.
yeah, I love you
As you
too,
can
man.
say.
And I want to give a shout out to all those friends that we see when we're at different events. But I want to give a special shout out to our eternal intern, Ion,
Yeah.
who's always with us, who's always driving us when we drink too much, who's always letting us sleep over at his house when we're in
Yeah.
his neck of the woods. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's always going to be our roll homie strong. So we love him very much. A shout out to everybody else. And again, a shout out to everybody for being with us tonight. On that note, I want to
Yes.
wish you all Thanksgiving. Be safe. Don't drink too much. Get in your garage. Work on something. Don't be scared. It's that time of the year. It's downtime. Get in there. Car show season's just around the way. Car event season's just around
This
the
is
way.
this is
Don't be
supposed to be the part.
lazy. Yeah, tell the
This
family.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
I'll be in the
turkey.
garage.
I'll
Turn the
be in the
heater on.
garage.
Thanks.
And that's
Yeah.
it. That's how you roll. Put the heater on. And that's it. But again, thanks to everybody for being on this. You can check us out on social media. Again, Facebook, Instagram, we're on there.
Hmm.
MySpace, not so much.
Friendster
Email, info at
uh,
nissannerd.com.
info.
Send us what you have. But
That is correct, guys. There's a number of ways you can contact us. Of course, we definitely thank you for all your support, and we're going to keep it going. Uh, again, throughout the years, man, we've gotten the smallest types of encouragement and people liking the show, and those go a long way. So again, thank you for that. And
Kampai,
that's yeah,
Kampai,
yes, 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 yes. Let's go ahead and get into Kanpai, guys. Again, whatever you've got left, join us in the Kanpai.
Kampai,
Let's do it here.
Kampai,
Woo! Kanpai.
Kampai.
Mm.
It goes down smooth.
Goes down
Ooh.
smooth.
So again, thanks for everybody for being on with us for the Thanksgiving episode. We'll see you here in 2 weeks where we have more Nissan news for you. Love
Oh
you
yeah.
all. Till then, go away. Bye.
God.
Get in your garage. Bye. Go. Go.
See you guys
Go.
soon.
Go. 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 Go.